Hello friends, and welcome to today's Sunday Tea Time, live, as always, from Nottingham, England. As always, do come say hello in the chat. I see we've got a few of you already joined us already, which is really good. Today, as it has been for a few weeks, is going to be a bit shaky of a stream today. I had a bit of a relaxing morning. Not really had much time to get prep ready or to practice. I like to try and get things ready so they run a bit smoother for you, so it's easy to follow along with what we're doing. So we'll see how it goes today. So hello and welcome to the stream. And if you are new to the streams, my name is Darren and I stream here every Sunday on YouTube and on Twitch. And I record the stream on YouTube so you can watch it later to rewatch parts that you need to understand what I've done or to watch parts that you've missed. And these are a chance for me to do some drawing or animation in OpenToonz or Tahoma 2D. And today we're going to do some drawing in Tahoma. And for you to ask any questions you have about the program or about what I'm doing. So to not miss each stream, please do subscribe and hit that bell to be notified of when I stream next. And there's lots of ways you can help to support the channel, with the easiest being just hit the like button and to comment on the video once it's over and recorded on YouTube. Or you can join my tea service on Patreon and watch my tutorials before they're released on YouTube, to download the projects I show in my tutorials so you can dig deeper into what I've done, or to watch real-time videos showing my process where normally I'd skip through in the tutorial. Or if you've got the means, you can also support the channel by treating me to a coffee or to a Darren Tea. But I've plenty of free content on the channel for you to watch, so after the stream, why not take a look around and see what you can find. But welcome everyone to the stream. Good to have you here today. Can't wait to get started, but let's go through the usual process as we do. We've got plenty of people here. We've got Happy Boy. Hello, Happy Boy. Welcome to the stream. We've got the arthritic one in nice and early. Good to have you with us today. We've got Maria. Hello, Maria. And you've got the new version of Tahoma ready. Good. Excellent. Me too. I plan to use the new version of Tahoma to see how it goes so I can set things up and figure out if there's any issues with using it. We've got Tom with us today. Hello there, Tom. Welcome. Good to have you here. Kozo, double O, hello. Welcome. Good to have you with us today. Happy Boy, have you been around here before? I don't recognise the name. I've got a feeling I've seen it, but I don't remember. You have to let me know. We've got the Badge of Shame. Good morning. Hello, welcome. Good to have you here today. So yeah, we've got lots to get through today. Really looking forward to get onto this. I've been wanting to do this stream for about a month now. So yeah, we're going to figure out about drawing hands. So I feel kind of okay with drawing hands in the basic poses. Anything more than that, not so much, as we found out during the 11-second club challenge, which is why we're doing this stream today. First time here, Happy Boy. Well, welcome to the stream. Good to have you with us today. Out of interest, how did you find out about the stream? Was it through one of the YouTube videos or Discord or just browsing on Twitch or YouTube? How did you find us today? Always interested in how people come along and find us, so it can help more come along and join us on these streams. So yeah, normally it's animation working on. Today, a bit of drawing practice. I've been trying to do some drawing practice, I guess really since the end of last year. So it's good to actually finally get to a stream where we're getting into it. It's Heavemations. Hello there. I saw you chatting on the Discord just before the stream. How long did it take you to learn how to animate? I'll let you know when I can animate. When I finish the process, as lots of people say, animation, like a lot of skills, really is a journey. And at any one time, you're only at one point on that journey. But for the basic principles, definitely at least 6 months to a year, which was why I was encouraging you not to rush into working on that collaboration too soon until you've got some of the basics under your belt. Really is important to get a hold of those basics and feel comfortable with them. But for me, it's not just the animation, it's also the drawing skills, which again is why we're doing this stream today, to work on some of those drawing skills. Nullval, hello there Nullval, welcome, good to have you with us again today. In regards to your question earlier, Heavemations, might be worth me just mentioning it now. You asked a question about using an animatic. Let me find that in here on the Discord server, just taking a quick look at that. Yeah, what do animators do with an animatic? An animatic, as far as I understand, really is a mid-process. And feel free, Tom, Maria, because you're working on obviously your group work, to join into the chat and to let everybody sort of know your opinion. But animatic is the step after doing thumbnails. So you have your story of what you want to animate. You then do some quick thumbnail sketches to get an idea of sort of the camera angles you will have and what you want to show. And each stage in this process, you will narrow down your story and you'll get answers to questions you didn't necessarily know you had. So you work through your thumbnails and you've got now a set of static images showing kind of how it should look through each of the phases and each of the shots. And the animatic is then a timed version of the thumbnails. So in its simplest form, you'll record your audio or have the audio, whether it's a song or prepared script or whatever it is, bring that into your software and then put the thumbnails and show them in time to the audio so you can see the pictures changing in time to the music or to the conversation or what have you. And again, at that stage, you'll make changes. You'll see the project differently. So you'll decide to change the timing, some of the drawings, maybe the camera angles. You'll perhaps consider reuse of backgrounds, so you'll change the background so they can be shared across different shots, that kind of thing. Some people also like to add in some movement. So you might include some camera movement, just as pan across a shot, or to slow zoom in, or to change the zoom in and out, and maybe even some movement of the characters, sliding in and out, not animated necessarily, just to get a better feel for what's going to happen in your cartoon. And you use that then to figure out the next stage, which is the drawing of the actual final characters and backgrounds. But to be able to do that, you need to understand the early stages of the thumbnail and the animatic. So each stage informs the decisions for the next stage and brings you closer to the end animation. That's kind of my quick overview of an animatic and how you might use it. As I say, please do pop in the chat if you've got different opinions of how you create an animatic or how you use it. Casa Chap, hello, welcome. Good to have you here. The cheese says hello, welcome. So, unless there's any further questions, I'm going to jump into this week's news. I'm going to give it a second. A little sip of tea in one of my favourite mugs. It's the red one this week, Nightmare Before Christmas, as always, with Jack and Mr. Oogie Boogie. I saw actually, Heath, you mentioned about in-betweening. You made a comment that I didn't quite agree with. You said that in-betweening is the most important part. No, I think it's setting up the poses, deciding on the key poses is the most important part. The in-betweening, really, if you use the pose-to-pose style of creating the extremes, keys and breakdowns, in-betweening is almost something you shouldn't be thinking about because it's just the in-betweens of the breakdowns and the keys that you've already drawn. So the in-betweening process should be pretty straightforward, but you should have calculated and figured out ease in and ease out and that kind of thing before that stage. But yeah, Alan Becker's tutorials is videos of the 12 principles, well worth watching a few times as you work through and practice on your animation. Alrighty, let me jump to here. I'm just looking at my other screen that's kind of a bit of a mess right now. So before we start today's drawing exercise, as I like to do each week, should we take a look at what happened last week? Why not? What happened last week? So this section is a chance for me to let you know about what I've been working on since I last streamed, and to share that with you along with any news that we have about animation or about OpenToonz and Tahoma 2D. So as always, let's jump into sharing details of my last video. So my last video, which normally comes out on a Friday, came out yesterday. In fact, it came out twice yesterday. And this is about the new version of Tahoma 2D, version 1.3. And I didn't mention in the video, and I wish I had, that of course all the features that's been in this new release have been available throughout the year since the last release if you downloaded the nightly builds. So you may have already seen some of these features if you've been running with a nightly build. But this was a chance for me to almost give a retrospective of what's changed since version 1.2, ignoring all of the nightly releases, to show the big ticket features that I think are going to be most exciting for you to know about. So getting this video released was a bit of a nightmare in the end. I recorded it during the week last week to try and get it out on time for Friday. I like to get them out on Friday. It suits my my situation of where I am out and about and getting the video out, and I like to keep a regular routine of getting it out on the same day if I can. And as it happened, version 1.3 was released on Friday as well, so it would have been ideal to get out on Friday. But I was working at home up till Thursday last week and in the office on Friday, and Friday evening I wasn't home till late, so I had no time on Friday to work on the video. Didn't quite get it finished on Thursday. So be it. I didn't stress too much. As I've often said, I'd rather a video come out late than for me to get too stressed about getting it released. So I worked on it on Saturday morning and got it released on Saturday afternoon. And I recorded the video a little bit differently this week. I keep trying to do that as often as I can to get a better idea of which videos work and to learn some new things for myself about recording the videos and what you might enjoy. And I wanted to keep the video as short as I could. It's really easy with these release videos to make them far too long. So I'll just keep it as short as I could to get the information out to you, which is why I limited myself to 5 features I wanted to talk about, even though I could have talked about a dozen of them. There's plenty more in there. But I took this as an opportunity to do something different I recorded everything I wanted to say about these 5 features, and I like to keep most of my content free to you. I like to get the information out. I don't see why you should have to pay to learn. But to give extra benefits to my patrons on Patreon, I want to offer something extra additional to them. So what I did, I recorded this long video with all the information I wanted to share, and then I edited it down to be as tight as it could be for the Friday but Saturday release. So I released the longer video to my Tea Mug and Teapot patrons on Saturday once it was edited down, and that ended up being about 20 minutes. And then editing it down came to about 10 minutes. So the actual video I released was 10 minutes long. But because of the late editing and the rushing and getting it out and the 2 versions of videos, I didn't actually re-watch the video before I uploaded to YouTube. So thanks to Manong John for pointing out that of my 5 points I wanted to mention, I actually missed the first one out, and the video started partway through the second one. So that was a bit of a nightmare, so I had to cancel that video, re-upload it again, edit and re-upload again on Saturday evening last night. So that was a bit of an exciting day of getting that together, but I'm really pleased with the video. If you haven't seen it yet, do take a look at it. As I say, you'll know about some of the features, but others you might not necessarily know about, and you'll start to see new ways of working in Tahoma. And I think it gives you a bit of a vision of the difference between Tahoma and OpenToonz, and can help you decide perhaps which program you might want to use to animate with. Absolutely, Norval, exactly that. It wasn't in version 1.2. Norval was asking about the reference fill feature. Wasn't in 1.2, but it has been out in a nightly build for maybe 6 months, 5 or 6 months. So to say, the video It's got 5 features. Some will be new to you and some won't, because I tried to pick the very largest, most exciting features. It's been really interesting actually. Most of the comments I've received have been about the reference fill feature. People are really excited to use it. For me personally, I almost don't see the need for it. I'm quite happy to have the fills on the same column in the same level as the lines. I know if you're using drawing software, it's very common to have your fills on a different layer to the lines. But this isn't drawing software just for doing the static drawing. To animate a moving character, you're going to have lots of drawings, and keeping 2 or more layers or columns in sync with the lines and fills, I think is much trickier than managing with a single level in a column for each character. And you can add effects using different colours in that level anyway, so you don't necessarily need it, but I can see it being really handy, particularly perhaps for backgrounds where you haven't got a changing image, it's just a static background. It could be useful for, or if you intend to render out with only parts of the colour visible, potentially, so you want to be able to hide some of the colours for some reason, or some of the columns, and as I show in the Patreon video, using vectors, so drawing in vectors but filling in standard raster or Toons raster levels. It can be quite handy to separate the colours and have guaranteed fills for those. As I say, I've created the video, I've got it just here. Hopefully the sound isn't playing as it was before. And just to point out that I'll be discussing something during the video and explaining each of the 5 features, and then at some point I'll get to the Patreon exclusive section where I discuss things for you. So I'll put this little banner on the bottom so you can see as patrons where the additional sections are. Really enjoyed putting that together. For me, it felt like an interesting idea of creating 2 versions of the same video to have a bit of an extra feature for you, my patrons, to say thank you. Just reading the comments here from Norval, who says, you animate some things on different columns, i.e. the same character split up, still frame by frame, but it aids with the auto in-betweening. There you go, bingo. Auto in-betweening, great reason why you might want to separate things up. And then just fill reference all the layers. Yes, so you might auto in between, say the eyes, I guess, to move across, and a separate column of the head turning a little bit, that kind of thing. But overall, it's still one kind of character that you then want to fill across the layers. Great points. Really useful feature for that. Yes. As I say, I'm really excited to see what people use these features for, and how you're going to use them differently to how either I might guess they'd be used and other people, and how the developers intended it to be used. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what people are using that for. So next week, what video am I doing for next time? Well, I've changed my mind about my next video. I'm going to delay that one, which is going to be about a walk cycle, for a future time, maybe in a few weeks' time or something. But I've decided to bring forward the video that I was going to show how auto lip sync works in OpenToons. And it works the same way in Tahoma as well, but in OpenToons you've got to set it up first and download the library to use. And there's a slightly different dialogue in the 2 programs, virtually the same. You can figure it out between both, whichever I choose to show. So I'm hoping to record that during this week. I'm hoping it'll be out possibly by the end of the week. If not, it'll be the following week. But I've had lots of requests for this one. I've been wanting to make it since I first saw that OpenToons had the auto lip sync. So I'm really looking forward to getting that out in the next week or 2. So next I want to mention about the 11-second club. Let me turn on that view. So I wanted to say congratulations to everyone that entered and joined in this challenge. We've been working on this for about a month or so, and then last Monday on the stream we voted on the entries here on the stream, and I know some of you voted at home. The winner was actually drawn and completed a couple of days ago. So if you did enter or got involved in some way, you can take a look at the winning entries on the site. So have a browse to the 11-second club website, and on this front page they announce the winner, which, as you can see just about up there, is the one with the dinosaur, which I really enjoyed. I was surprised that was the winner, but that's part of the fun of looking at the winning entries and trying to judge them for yourself. So you can get to the winning entries by finding the link in here. So as it says, all April entries can be viewed on the competition results page. So click that, and you can see the entries in order from one downwards. You can see who animated them, details about the animator themselves, how long they've been animating, or anything else they've put in their notes, how many stars they've got. So the winner was 9.33 stars, so well done there, that's really good. And you can view the animation yourself and take a look at it.
Hi! I made macaroni if you want some.
I'm sorry, what?
Well, I was starving and you took forever, so I wanted to make food.
So it's really well done, great animation. As I say, scroll down, you can see details about the animator and the comments on the animation to see what other people thought of it. But as I say, you can see the order of them. You can also see where you came if you entered in the competition. And wherever you did come, well done. You've achieved quite a lot just by entering the competition. I was thinking about this the other day. By entering, you've actually managed to complete an animation. There's a lot of people that work on tiny test animations, trying out either features or animation ideas to actually create even an 11-second clip for a short story. I think is a great achievement. So I'm really pleased with entering in this competition, and so should you be. And also, you put yourself out there for other people to judge. That's a big thing to do for a creative person. It's really easy just to work quietly on your own, to not go out and share your work. So the fact you've shared it is really good. So well done for that. Really good to have it here. But if you have entered, do take a look at the comments you've received from people. Take them with a bit of a pinch of salt, because some of the people commenting will be really good animators, some will be just beginners, and some will be younger people who won't necessarily know how to express their ideas. So don't be too disheartened if you have any negative comments, but do take a look at what people have said, see where you came in the order, and then perhaps consider joining again and seeing if you can improve your position based on the comments, the feedback you've had already from the Discord server, and just your own kind of inner personal feeling. And I've had a look through, and as far as I can tell, from everybody in our little community, the highest rated entry was from Jer Henning, who came 35th. So well done, Jer, for doing that. Excellent work. He beat me, which I'm not surprised about. But again, as I've said before, you're not competing exactly against each other. You are only competing against yourself. So well done for that. Yeah, the ranking, to be honest, as long as I wasn't the very last, I was happy. I saw plenty of animations that were made by, not people in our community, but made by very new people to animation, and they were lower than us. So for that, the voting kind of worked out. As I say, it's because it is very dependent on who's going to vote to how well you did, but it's just an indication. And again, we'll work on that and we'll see what we can do next time. I didn't get to read all of the feedback for everybody, unfortunately, Tom, so I didn't get to see what sort of feedback you got, but that's really good that you got good feedback. I only got a few comments. One of them I wholeheartedly agree with, and I'd already kind of considered that beforehand. So having the comment really told me that it was correct, and that's something I need to think about for next time. So yeah, it was good to get those comments in there. Yeah, it really is useful competing against yourself, and I think we've talked about it. Maria and Tom have both made comments about things you've worked on, and you've already seen ways you can improve for next time. That's all you're trying to do. As soon as you've done the animation, or you're working on the animation, you realise what you could do if you had more time, or once you've had more practice. So I'd like to enter this competition a few more times, and I'm aiming to get in again for June or July, depending on the next few weeks' streams, on what I work on and how much time I get. Kozo, hello, hello, hello. Let me click around over here. Absolutely. If you're happy to view this, so early this week, Kozo sent me an animation, a little vignette that his wife worked on. I'm happy to play that today and put it on the stream for people to have a look at. More than happy to do so. And now's probably a good time to do so, to be honest. So let me do that now. Feel free to pop comments into the chat. Here we are. I love that. Really, really nice little animation, and it's perfect for what people are using OpenToonz and Tahoma for. I get comments all the time from people that are trying to get into animation. Partially, some people are interested in cartoons from their youth. A lot of people are trying to get into it to make this kind of little vignette, introduction, or overlays for their other passions in life. So whether they've got a YouTube channel doing gardening, or showing how to work with cameras, or they're just daily blogs. They want some overlays and little animation snippets. So that's why a lot of people want to learn some basics of animation. So yeah, it's just really nice. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, I forgot to download that earlier, so thank you for reminding me as well. It is, absolutely, Nulval. Getting feedback shows that people have thought about your work, which is why, as I was ranking them, I didn't just watch them and click 6, 9, 4. I wanted to try and have a think about what they'd done. And we had a chat last Monday on the stream. If you've not seen that, you can see it, find it on the channel. And also to try and add some comments to try and help people or encourage them of things I wanted to note for them to look at. So it's great to have the chance to be able to put that in. So it's not a bad little site and competition. A couple of problems with it I've already noted in the forum. I need to go back and check on them. The video player has got the ability, if I open up one of these animations, let's go to number 2. Let me open that up and hit pause as soon as it comes on. There we go. So now the voting's closed and you look at a video, you can actually go through the videos. Let's pause it. 1 frame at a time. Used by clicking these arrows or using the cursor keys on your keyboard. So you can examine the animation to see how they did a certain effect or how the movement went, to learn from them. But when you're voting, the player in that window, that feature doesn't work. It's really annoying to be able to examine the animation. So I'll put a comment in, hopefully we'll see what comes back from that, if we can get some answers for that. Okay, so today, what are we doing? So today the plan is to work out how to draw hands, and for me to get some practice to try and draw them better, and hopefully for you to follow along and to join in and share your work on our Discord server. If you're not a member, there's a link down below to join the Discord. So, who just bashed the keyboard to say hello, I'll call you BHG, why not? What's the name of the site you're looking at those in? This is the 11-second club at the top of the window here. You can see just I screened them away, just at the top left, the 11-second club. But if you type 11-second club, 11-second club, you'll get to this page. So they run a monthly competition that I and some other members of the community here entered with their animations, and you animate against an audio track, and then at the end of the month we can judge other people's entries. You get 5 days to vote and pick a winner, and then you do it all again the next month. So we entered last month, and I hope to join again in June or July. But as I say, if you take a look at that, you can see the previous winners to get an idea for kind of the quality of the winning entries and the quality of the other entries, to see, if you go to the opposite end, the very bottom, the sort of things people hated or really didn't like. And you can see on average, they've still got at least 2.5 to 3 stars for the very bottom entries. And these are likely people just starting to learn animation, beginning to pick up the software to understand how to do it and how to create movement, or even for people running out of time while trying to create their entry. So it's worth taking a look at some of those and have a look around before you enter. But we'll be entering again in a month or two, and I'm really hoping to put together that video I discussed with you about last month's entry, where I'm going to share your entries as well, and to lead that into getting other people to join us for the following competition. Oh, Artiomi, yes, the kicking ball where you had, it didn't kick it with your foot, you kicked it with the midriff of the character. That did make me smile. How come your name is a keyboard bash? Why didn't you put Artiomi in here on YouTube? And if you can, it might be worth changing it to save confusion, but I'll leave that with you. So as I say, today I want to have a practice and an earnest bit of a sketch session, learning how to draw hands. I'm going to be following a video. You may recognise this thumbnail from Marco Bucci, and he created a video on YouTube, Draw Better Hands Now, and he's talking about entering God mode for doing amazing hands. And this was a video that Amar shared with me a few weeks ago when I discussed wanting to get some practice in. So thank you, Amar, for that. Really appreciate it. I love getting links in with ideas of videos to watch, especially for things like this that can help us to learn. So I want to have a look at that. I watched it briefly during the week. I'm going to watch it again today. It's a 20-minute video, and we'll do it in smaller chunks. Because I don't want to get a copyright strike, I can't really be playing the audio. So I do recommend that you follow the link down below to this video and have it on yourself to have a listen to the audio to follow his instructions. And rather than me trying to relay exactly what he's saying, I'll kind of give you the idea if you haven't got a chance to watch his video at the minute. But if you can watch it after this stream or later during the week, it's 100% well worth watching. It gives lots of tips and ideas. And amazingly, I was so surprised at the things I learned, the suggestions that he gave during this video. So we'll take a look at that, which I will do after the break. But I'm going to take a break, set a few more things up here for me, bring up to Homer, get things ready, stretch my legs before we start drawing, and then we'll do some drawing after the break. So I hope you can join me then. So take a 5-minute break yourself, grab a pen and paper, or fire up your favourite animation or drawing program, grab yourself a cup of tea, and I'll see you in 5 minutes for today's tea time draw along. And welcome back. I'll leave the music on in the background. Do let me know if it's too loud for you. But I think it helps to have a little bit of music in the background to listen to. However, I plan to be having a watch of this video and having a listen to it. But as I say, to save getting any copyright strikes, I'll mute the audio from you, hopefully. So let me know if you can hear that, because it could cause a problem for me if it plays through. But I do recommend you do watch this video, either have a listen to me for each small section as we work through it, or just to watch it all later when you do get time. So I don't know how many of you are available to join in today and do some drawing, but if you are, then please do share any of your sketches over on the Discord server, either in the OpenToons art room or in the live stream chat channel for me to take a look at, which I can either share with everybody else on the stream today, or if you just want it shared on the Discord server, let me know and I'll leave it on there. I won't pop it on the screen. It's always good to share with other people, especially if you get any tips, if you discover anything new that you'd like to share with people. As I say, there's a few things in this video that I found really useful that I'm sure we'll get to later on today. I was hoping to have my second webcam set up if I had time today, to give a top-down view so that I could take I'm cutting the top of my head off there, so I can take a snapshot. I could bring that up. Take a snapshot of my hand in a certain position, ready to try and draw it, and also if you'd see what I'm doing here on my tablet. But I didn't get a chance to do that, unfortunately. So let's get started with this. I'll start with the video. Let's run through it for you here. I'm going to plug my earphones in, and I will mute the audio so that it doesn't cause an issue. As I say, let me know if it accidentally comes through. It would really help me if you could. So let me hit play on this. Excuse me, let's just change that. There we go, let's get it through my earphone. So he starts off by talking about the number of hand poses for this small action. So he's letting you know that there's lots of different hand poses that he uses, lots of kind of wild poses in here. And he says, as he says, that this person clearly knows how to draw hands. Happy boy! Bye for now, see you next time. Thanks for joining us today. And we've got Broccoli. Hello, welcome. Not seen you for a while, how are you doing? And FLA come through at the same time. Do you know each other, Broccoli and Flaten? Flaten Informatica and Design. Welcome to the stream. Good to have you here today. Hopefully catch you next week, Happy Boy. If you get a chance, perhaps we want to take a look at the stream later on once it's finished recording to catch the other parts that we work on today. So yeah, so he describes about the hands. Yep, that he calls God Mode hands. And the video is split up into separate chapters. You can get to the bottom of them here on the timeline. So he starts off with this flat plane and considering how it can bend and twist, a bit like your hand for bending and twisting and turning around. So he's going to ask us to draw this plane in different positions. Okay, so he goes through different shapes and changes the 3D shape and tries to trace over them. So we'll do the same thing in a second. Well, it's good to have you with us today. Thank you, Broccoli. So let me play it through and let the different shapes appear before I start drawing. So as I say, and draw the lines as well, because that'll help you understand the form and see the direction of where things are and help it feel more 3D. So I'll let this get to the end before we start drawing. And you can see here is shaded underneath as well, so you can clearly see which parts of the shape are underneath, and it's also drawn through sometimes so you can see where the shapes are. So as he said, he's put together a page to try and draw them. So he suggests that you pause it and draws these shapes yourself. That's exactly what I'm going to do here. So I'm going to pop this image, this website, onto my second screen. As I say, do take a look at that link because you can get to this page yourself. So this is at 1 minute and 54 into the video. So let me just find a good place for this on the screen so I can still see everything else that I need to see. So let me start a new project. So I'm going to create a new project here. I'm using the new Tahoma 1.3. I set up a couple of things like keyboard shortcuts when I first made my video for yesterday that I released, but I may not have set up everything, so I'll be doing some of that today as well, so you see me setting up the program. Don't need that in my ear now. So if we go to the preferences, the first thing I want to set up is my default project path. So rather than creating all my Tahoma projects in the documents folder, I've got a separate Tahoma folder inside my documents where I like to keep all my Tahoma projects, and I've got one for OpenTunes as well, so it keeps all of my projects separate from each other between the two programs, but isolated from everything else in my documents. So I'll set that up. I think that should take straight away. So if I go back to panels and show the startup pop-up and create a new project, it does select Tahoma in there. And you can just choose and browse to the folder to create your projects in, because in Tahoma you can create a project in any folder, unlike OpenTunes. So let's give it a name. Just hand practice is fine, and the scene name is Stream 1, and I'm calling it Stream 1 because I'm thinking this will be possibly a two-parter of a project. So I'll be going through the hand drawing this week, and next week, depending how I get on, either do some more practice at drawing hands or some animation with hands, I was thinking. So actually have them moving and changing from pose to pose could be quite interesting. So we'll see how I get on today first. So I'll just call this Stream 1. Hit save, so that's all saved. Pochinimi, hello, welcome to the stream, good to have you with us. Tahoma 2D, does that have the same features of the newer version of OpenTunes? Yes, it does. One of the things that Malin John tries to do is to bring over bug fixes and features from OpenTunes as they happen, and he's done the same with Tahoma 2D. So any of the newer features in OpenTunes, we've got them in Tahoma, as well as the additional features in Tahoma 2D. So if there's something in OpenTunes that you either like the feature of, or you're glad that a bug's been fixed, that will have come over and will also be fixed in Tahoma. Plus there are additional bug fixes in Tahoma and different ways of working which make things work smoother. Okay, so the practice was to draw this flat plane. So let me create a new level. So the first thing, let's show the quick toolbar up here so I can create a new level easier. I'll stick with creating a smart raster level. I won't bother naming this level, I don't think. So I'm thinking of having a single level for everything and creating a new frame in that level. I will actually name this. I'm thinking through, because if I'm going to be... Oh, I had this before where the keyboard stopped working in text boxes in both programs. So I'm going to close that and just restart it. and see if that's the issue. But yeah, I'll name the level so I can see which level is definitely from which stream. Could be handy to do that. In fact, now I've put off the video, let me bring this background audio back. Again, if it's too loud, do let me know. So a new one of these. Oh, what's interesting, my keyboard stopped working here. Let me try in a different program. Yeah, something's happening. It's like control keys held down or something. I think I need to re-plug in my keyboard. Let me just try that and then I'll be right back with you. So bear with me and I'll be back in 2 minutes. Okay, that's better. I think we're just about sorted. I need to sort out showing my tablet, so I had to unplug that. So bear with me. These things happen from time to time. Okay, that's it. I think. And if I bring that down here, put it behind everything else. There we are. And I'm not moving for some reason. So again, I think I need to remove and re-add me. It's because I've unplugged the USB connectors. So thank you, Tom. Oh, I'm gigantic and I'm still frozen. So I think you might have to have a day without seeing me. So you unlucky people aren't going to get to see me today, I don't think. Praise me, praise me. So I'm messing with OBS a minute, trying to get this sorted. So see if we can figure this out. Let me try adding a separate version of this. Okay. Almost there. It's starting to come together. Let me pop some bit of music back on for you for a second. Okay, I think we might be nearly there. Just take my growing pills. Ooh. So is that working for everyone? Is that coming through okay? Basically, for those that are interested in behind the scenes, I had to reset up my webcam in OBS again, including kind of the green screen chroma keying and what have you. So hopefully that's all back and we're back ready to get started again. Quadiman, hello, welcome to the stream. Thank you, Norval, thank you. The new Doctor Strange film, yes, I'm thinking about going this week. Mrs. T suggested it yesterday, so we might go on Tuesday, Wednesday evening. I'm really looking forward to seeing that. So without giving anything away, is it good, the film? I suspect the answer is going to be yes, but is it good, generally, would you say? So I've basically, Norval, what timestamp for the hand video? Do you mean how long ago did I start looking at it? Oh, for the image, you mean this one here. 1 minute 54. It's got that static image on. But leading up to that, as I say, I would strongly recommend having a listen to the rest of the video. Turn me down for the sake of 2 minutes and have a listen to this. Hear his introduction and explanation of what he's doing. Well worth doing, to be honest. As I say, I don't want to just repeat everything he says. He can explain it better, so I think let him do so. Okay, I'm just sorting out a few more things on my computer here. I think I'm ready to get started. Yeah, you're not too late, Quad Demon. We've been doing various bits and bobs and just chatting today, as we like to do. Looks like we've been here for an hour already, which is surprising at this stage. I've just had my keyboard stop working, so I had to unplug the keyboard and reset up my camera. Oh, all sorts of craziness. But ready to get started now. So what's this then? This is Stream 1 Sketch level. Okay, so I'm going to add a new palette entry, and from the raster tab, and if you saw my video yesterday, you'll see I've now got a favourites list. So I've got all my favourite brushes shown at the top, so I can get straight to the pencil brush to use without having to search down through all the categories of brushes down there. So I'm going to use the pencil brush. And again, if those of you have turned up late, I hope you can join along with me. We're doing some hand drawing practice, so it might be surprising with what we're doing at the beginning, but the first part of this is just to start thinking about moving shapes on the screen to get a feel for the basic hand shape. Before we do that, if you'll bear with me for a few minutes, I didn't have a chance to warm up or do any kind of practice before we started today, so I'd like to run through a quick exercise for a couple of minutes for myself, but you may find it useful as well before I start drawing. So one constant thing I see from artists and people that draw, animate for a living, those that have built themselves up to a certain level that they talk about, is drawing in a relaxed way. Just looking down here for my drawing glove, so stop my hand from sort of sticking on the screen. So drawing in a relaxed way, so rather than having tight lines, being able to draw loosely, and it's something that I kind of struggle with myself. So when I'm drawing something, if I'm drawing, say, a box, I've got pressure turned on to check through my options. If I'm drawing a box, I would draw the lines and draw kind of strong lines and say, yep, here's a cube. I'll also grab the eraser and tidy it up as I'm going. I'd say, yep, there's a box. But if you watch some people draw, I've not set up my keyboard shortcuts yet here. If you watch some people draw, you'd notice that they sort of chicken scratch. So they might sort of do this kind of thing, or they'd overdraw and do some kind of loose sort of sketching to start to feel for the shape. They talk about it, and they then continue to sort of draw it through until they've got kind of the shape they want to get. So there's different ways of drawing. I need to push myself more to the relaxing side rather than this strong, strict, firm drawing. So I like to try and kind of create a warm-up first off to start me in that direction. Plus, one of my things I want to work on that you see a lot in animation are circles. So before you start to draw a character, you'll see people draw a circle for the head, and then they'll kind of extend it out for the chin, and they'll do the eyes at this level, or whatever they want to do, and the mouth down here. Then they start drawing the hair and ears and whatever they need to do. But it always starts with circles. So again, let's go to a new frame. I'll turn off the implicit hold feature because I only want to see one frame at a time. I'm not extending drawings for the timeline for an animation, so I'll turn off that implicit hold on that toolbar there. That's right, Tom. So one of the exercises that I saw that helps me get warmed up and get started is to draw circles. So the tip I saw was try drawing circles, starting with a circle touching the top of the screen and the side of the screen. And the idea is you draw the circle once, you don't go back and erase it, you accept any mistakes you make, and you just continue across the page. So draw the next circle touching the top of the screen and drawing the edge, trying to touch the edge of the previous circle. And you can go around a couple of times if that helps you, if that's easier. And do this and fill up the page with these circles, drawing quickly. And it's to train your eye a little bit into your hand-eye coordination, to not just drawing as smooth a circle as you can, but to try and fit it in the space you want. So you're really drawing what you want to draw. So this one's quite a small space. that's it. And then just keep down the page, and the idea is to fill up the page with these circles, touching each other. Try not to draw from the wrist, but instead moving the whole arm. So I'm doing that, moving my whole arm, which I find really tricky to do, especially at the start of a drawing session. And when the page is filled, I won't fill the whole page. That one's terrible here, don't worry about it. Just keep going, nice and loose, nice and relaxed. Once the whole page is filled, you come back and try and draw a circle in the centre of each of these. And this time you can start to use your wrist a little bit because the circles are smaller, but if you can use your whole arm, that's always better. That's right, the ghost drawing. So I don't know, Tom, if you've been to the Draw a Box website. Really good website for beginning drawing. I think I may have got this practice from there, I'm not sure. But the ghost drawing. So yeah, as you mentioned that, you kind of imagine or even draw a dot on screen, draw an endpoint, and then you move your arm, I don't know if you can see my pixel there, my pointer, between those two dots, and then when you're ready, then draw. So you sort of ghost draw first, above the screen, and then you press on, or above the paper. So yeah, that's another useful technique there. Yeah, exactly, Tom. You've just typed what I was... I should have read your words first before I spoke. But either way, you need to get some drawing practice in before you start drawing what you want. And circles, for me, is a good way to start. So when you finish filling the big circles with small ones, then you basically go around inside that large circle doing the same thing again. Trying to draw circles that touch the edge of the circle and the nearby neighbours. So going round, doing that. And I found that if I'm not on the stream talking as I'm doing this, but I'm taking my time going fairly steady, not necessarily too fast, because I'm rushing it a little bit here really, that by the end the circles are pretty much touching each other as I want them to be, and they're actually round circles, so not so spiky. And if you're using software to draw, be aware that sometimes your settings on the system and the brush that you use can make a difference to how these look. So if sometimes you draw a circle and you kind of get the janky edges like that, like an octagon or pentagon or what have you, rather than a smooth circle. So you might want to adjust your settings to make sure the software doesn't get in your way. Yeah, the making a stroke and undoing, you do see that a lot. For this sort of exercise though, the tips that I've seen are, don't undo, don't use the eraser, accept where you go wrong, and you're just trying to get better. Again, it's you working with yourself, not against yourself. So it's not a competition that I got it wrong so I must fix it. It's that I've got it wrong because I'm at the start of my warm-up session, so I need to remember that, take my time, and slowly get better. So obviously these circles at the beginning I drew quite quickly, so ordinarily this is maybe the pace I'd go. So even though today is about drawing hands, you still need to get warmed up before you start drawing, or at least if you do, you'll get a better drawing out of it. And as you go through these practices, you start to get better and better and better. As I say, I'm rushing this today, but you get the gist of what I'm trying to achieve. Yeah, and I've seen people with both approaches, the scratchy line approach, the scribble approach. So the scratchy line where you often get like lots of small lines together. And then the scribble is sort of this one where you see lots of this, where the pen almost doesn't come off the paper as you draw. And then people undoing. So often you'll see people going line, no, 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 yes, no, 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 yes, no, yes. And they're slowly doing it until they kind of get a feel for the shape they're trying to draw. And they're all kind of fairly valid in their own way. But as I say, for the warm-up, don't worry about undo or erase. Honestly, it's better just to try and get to the end point. So ideally, the end circle down here, whatever you have in that point, is your best set of circles. As long as by the time you get to the bottom corner, you're relaxed. You're doing quite well. You're drawing the circles. You're drawing whatever shape you need to do, whichever practice you use. As long as the last one or the last few are looking good, it's been a good warm-up session. And this page, you're deleting anyway. You're not using. So don't worry about getting it right, I would suggest. Yeah, it depends what you're doing really. At this stage, I say it's a warm-up, so erasing and doing undo isn't important. When you get to drawing, that's where you need to figure out the style that you want to use, of the scratchy lines, the messy lines, the undo, whichever system works for you. And that's something that I'll kind of figure out as time goes by as to what works for me. I've kind of started to fall into kind of the traditional animation route because that's kind of what I've been brought up with watching, that you do the sketch, the rough messy lines, then the sketch, the need to sketch, then the ink line. That kind of works for me. That may evolve over time. Exactly, Tom. I mean, as I get through to doing the hands, we'll see how we get on therefore. Just how I draw them differently to the warm-up stage. Okay, so the actual practice we want to do is for drawing this shape. So it starts off at the beginning. So in the video, let me find a mouse pointer and just mute the desktop a second. There we go. Let me just play through, see if there's any more images here. Okay, so that's an interesting image. Let me share that on the screen with you before I start my sketching. So let's bring this over here. So yeah, 154 is where that page is to take a look at. We'll do that in a second. These are his sketches, and he's saying it reminds him of a hand already. So there's a nice hand photo. So this is how this sketch relates to it, which I think is really interesting. So there. So we've got 4 lines. That's kind of the fingers. That's the main part of the hand. This is kind of what we're trying to look at. Okay, so that's the next section we'll get to. So let me bring back my image for me to take a look at. 154 we said. There we are. So that's 155 is close enough. So the video, let me come here and just put this at the corner, 155, to remind us of where this image is. Okay, so we'll definitely get to drawing hands really soon. Yeah, 154, 55, it's on there for a few seconds. On screen for a few seconds, that's fine. So he starts off by drawing a simple rectangle. So let's really start at the beginning on that. Okay. So it's got 3 lines in each direction to split it into 4 pieces. So one down the centre, then half that again, and half that again. I'm going to try and keep it fairly loose if I can, and then again horizontally, one down the centre, one split up that area, and one to split up the front area. And I've got a little bit of a foreshortening happening there with apparently larger size here than I have at the back. That's fine. that for me, I'm happy that I'm doing that automatically. That kind of feels like what we should be doing. As the hand is tilted away, the part of the hand nearest to you will appear larger in that sort of section. So let me skip to 154.5-ish. There we are. Okay, so at first glance these are kind of tricky sort of shapes looking at them. So the first one, he's got it this kind of an angle, and as I say, please do have a go yourself. Grab a hold of that video, take a look at it, pause it, have a go yourself, share what you've been drawing. I'm looking forward to seeing that. I'm watching the Discord server, but drop us a comment in the discussion here on YouTube and Twitch to let me know when you've shared that. So we've got this going along and up and then down. I think it's best to try and get that in one if we can. Same on this sort of size. I'm trying to make sure I draw the lines parallel with each other so it doesn't get narrower or wider. So that's one is over here. And this is where it would be easy on a piece of paper. So you can twist the paper around a lot easier than you do on the screen here. But to make that easier for myself, so I do like turning the screen around when I can. Let me set up the keyboard shortcuts for this by going to my driver for my tablet. Let's bring that over and remind myself what shortcuts I had before. So for the press keys, Control Space is for rotating, and then Shift R is to reset the rotation. So I'm going to the keyboard shortcuts. Let me just check. Rotate tool, reset of Shift R. Okay. So now if I use that one to rotate and that one to reset with zoom here. Okay. Just check what I did for the bottom set of buttons. So that's for selection tool. Oh, the paintbrush tool I changed because I was using the paintbrush a lot the other day. Then the eraser, then the brush at the bottom. So N for the paintbrush tool. So let me set that up as well so it's all as we expect. So Smart Raster Paint tool was N. Yes, change that. Got brush, erase, and the actual brush. Good. So enough dilly-dallying. So it goes, he's got it going up and then over. Okay, so again, line down the centre, just to follow that. Half that up. And as I say, I've not had time to practice this week or to work on these at all. So the stream, I'm doing everything for the first time here. So I'm expecting for a lot of this to go really quite badly wrong, which is fine. Okay, then across the centre there, he's kind of got it up here somewhere for that one, and this is kind of almost hidden at the top of the curve there. And we've also got the underside of this in here. We'll add a little bit of shading to that. Let's have a quick check around the Discord server there, see what's happening before I go any further. Okay, so the next image on here, lots of twisting and turning here. What I'm going to do, let's reset this, use the selection tool, which I'll put into freehand mode. going to start reducing these down in size straight away to make some room for all of them. So I'm going to have a few happening in here. Okay, so they've got some twisting and turning ones. Let me do some simple ones first. So we've got one here, it's like a ski slope, and that's going round, round and up. So get it start to go round, and that'll curve under there. And at the top, he's got some curves as well, like that. Okay, so let's draw these lines here, so halfway, and then split those two as well. So I'm trying to think of this being a 3D shape really curving through the air here. I'm almost doing the chicken scratch approach as we was talking about earlier. Try rotating it round. That always makes it better, easier to draw. So halfway there, halfway here, and the other one really is underneath, so I don't need to draw that line on there. Next, he's got some really twisted and turning shapes here, and as tricky as they look to draw, my kind of view is, if you can't draw these as flat planes, how are you going to draw a hand? So I think it is worthwhile going through quite a few of these, so do bear with the project of doing this. And again, if you're practicing, I'd say don't skim over this process. The Discord server, Norval, is the best place, either in the live stream chat or the OpenTunes art section, but I think live stream chat is probably best, to be honest, to pop them in. And I suspect you'll be completing these much quicker than I am, because I'm giving it all that. Okay, so the next one, kind of curved up here. I need to not press on too hard as well to give me a chance to make alterations. And then it's kind of got a curve over here, and then across, and it's an absolute twisty turny to there. So this kind of comes up here to that corner like that. And again, Norval, if you'd let me know in the chat or on the Discord post if you're happy for this to be shared here on the stream, on screen or not, or if you just want to share it on the Discord, you let me know what you prefer. Oh yes, yeah, I've got a channel specifically just for chatting about what we're doing here, to share links, because in the YouTube you can't share links, for instance, to helpful videos or websites, so jump on the live stream chat in Discord for sharing that. Okay, so this comes down first, and then it's kind of a sharp twist up here, and again right down to sort of there. So let's do the other one. So once you've got the first line in place, and I will use the eraser for this section, once you've got the first halfway line, it makes it a lot easier, I think, for drawing the next line. You've got something to follow. And they don't need to be super accurate and super clean. Something like that. Underneath, will you see any of this? You probably would see a little bit there, I think. Then halfway, he's got that at the top of the slope here. One here, and then one sort of here, which comes up to that top corner like that, I think. Okay, so we've got the first sketch come through from Norval. If I click up in the original, yeah, it goes a little bit large. Can I reduce that? There we go. Nice. Yeah, exactly. Spot on. Yeah, superb. Keep sharing those. Thank you. Yeah, it's one of those things, Norval, that I don't want to be sharing people's kind of private work on the stream if they'd rather just keep it with us on the chat. So I'm happy to either show or not show. It is quite light, but I think you're better off. I'm doing the opposite. I'm drawing too heavy. So instead of drawing lightly, just light enough for me to see, I am pressing on. Again, it's kind of one of my things I need to look at. So grab the selection tool again. I'm going to reduce these down. And as I reduce the size, I'll hold the shift key, which keeps their width and height equal, so I don't stretch it in one direction or the other. Then I can zoom in and come down here and pick off another couple of these shapes. Yeah, it's quite light, null, but it's dark enough to see. I could clearly see it from my side how it looked. Let's go for another one of these tricky ones we've got up here then. He's gone absolutely mad with some of the shapes, which is good, because again we're trying to draw the hand, so it can twist and turn in lots of different directions. So here's a nice one. Let's have this. So we've got this sort of coming down at an angle, and it curves round on itself. So where that curves round, it gets to a point where you can't see it anymore, and then up and then back down. And again, because that goes behind, all these lines, by the way, just as speaking out loud as a reminder for me, as well as for any of you that are just glancing at this, the line here at the top, this one here, and the one behind should all be parallel to each other if it's a curve kind of across the width of the paper or the page there. So I'm trying to keep these lines all looking like they go in the same direction to make it look more realistic. And then at the bottom here is curved that outwards, sort of like this, before it comes up here. And again, this line here is parallel to this one here, and that goes up, and that will curve round at the other side up there. So I think the practice here is just about to start to get to see 3D forms moving in different directions. So again, let's draw the lines around the shape. And the halfway line makes it easier to draw the other two, I think. Referring to his image here for where the lines should go, I'm going to grab an eraser here for that to try and tidy it up a little bit. Again, doesn't need to be perfect, but I want to be able to see what I'm doing with it. So that line might come around here on the back part. And then horizontal lines are pretty straightforward for this one, I think, in that there's a halfway line sort of almost where that curve is here. So you won't see that. So we'll have one there, and then one. Actually, that's kind of going to be coming up a little bit because of the curve, like that. Okay. Okay, let me grab another one up here. I'll just do a couple more before we move on to the next practice. There's one here which looks like almost a hand. Let me change so I can see what you can see to be clearer. Okay, so there's one here. The next one I'll do is almost a hand waving, almost like someone going woo, because it comes up and then the fingers are kind of twisted down. So let's try and do that one. And this is the bottom center of his images, by the way, if you're looking at his paused video as I am. So the first part of the line is kind of that way, then it comes up, yeah, up, round and over. This is a bit wider than that. This one then comes up as well, same sort of an angle first as the right hand side. Let's follow this one up here. It's kind of going like that, and then it curves over like this. So then this one comes down and over to the right. It's kind of the curve there. He's got it coming over quite a bit more. In fact, his, again, I will grab the eraser for this to try and get it right, to get the more interesting shape that he's added. Is this line on the left, it does come up there, so it comes up behind here, but then it kind of comes out at the top here like this, and then that's up and over. Okay, and then this comes down here. One thing I didn't do, that I should mention, it's worth doing from time to time, is I didn't reset the, what do you call it, the work area calibration, where you can calibrate the drawing tablet. And on mine, if I start the calibration, it shows, I think it's 8 or 9 dots on the screen, one in each corner, one at the halfway and possibly a centre. And you basically tap on it with your pen on the dots, and then their driver will work out the calibration of kind of where your pen is to where your eyes think your pen is when you're looking at the dots. So it makes it easier to draw and has the pointer on screen nearer to where the pointer is in your hand, and that's really for screen tablets rather than non-screen ones. So I didn't set up the calibration on this, unfortunately. Norval's done some darker ones. The twisting and turning, absolutely. It's, as I say, it's deceiving because you can see someone's image like these. These are nice drawings, these are great drawings. And the one at the top right there of yours is exactly what I'm trying to draw at the minute. But as soon as you try and draw them and think about the positioning, it does mess with your head. But yeah, they're excellent. And also they're nice and lightly drawn. So not so, again, I described at the beginning how I tend to draw firmer lines. So it's been really interesting to go through this today. Okay, so let me finish this one off then. So we're the halfway lines on his drawing. Pretty straightforward on the bottom. It's kind of just up to here. And then these will go up and over. So I'm looking at the length here from this corner to this corner. It's kind of like there. So where would that move to? Kind of, that would up and over, I think, to here. The next one halfway, to include the twist, would be kind of like that. And the other one really is hidden in that fold behind the back, and the same for the underside. I can't draw under there either. Okay, so that's those two. So again, let me just reduce those inside with the selection tool, holding the shift key, and resize them down a little bit. I'm moving over to the next one. Let's do a couple more and then we'll finish this section here. Thank you, Noel. It's definitely something I need to work on. Looking forward to working on. Again, that's what these sketch sessions are all about. And one thing they should also be about is learning to pronounce the words sketch session without falling over my teeth. Okay, so let's pick off another one. I've done that one, I did that one. Looking through his here, it's not bad. I've got most of them drawn. So I've done 6, he's got 9. Trying to figure out which ones I've not done yet. What I ought to do really is draw them in the same order. Jose! I hope that's how you pronounce it. Welcome, good to have you here from your side of the world. Hello from my side of the world too. Good to have you here today. We've done a bit of drawing practice today. Feel free to join in. If you are free to join in, let me know, and I'll let you know exactly what we're up to. Okay, so next one. Yeah, quadratic surfaces. Exactly. Well, we're back drawing them, although this is leading us to draw hands, is what we're trying to do. So draw the main line first, where I can see the full length of the line that's facing nearest to me. Bottom left, null val, that's exactly where I am right now. So I'm drawing the line I can see that's right in front of me, that's the full length, and then we'll start to build off that. So I can then do the one at the background where it comes up and over, and then the top goes around and down, so it goes across a bit more, and then sort of down and curving up, and then back on itself. These are crazy shapes, and that joins up under there. Something like that. So it's got a twist on that bottom corner. So again, let's start with the halfway lines. Can't quite see where this ends. I'm not happy with that. So grabbing the eraser, just take that off and do it again. So I went a bit too high, I think. So it comes up and over, and I think that's where the edge of the corner of the page is, where it comes back. So in my mind, I think this kind of does that. If I'm thinking through the shape, it kind of twists underneath. But that turn here is really peculiar and looks odd to try and get in place. Something like that, I think. Okay, let's get these halfway lines in. So again, by adding these, you can now start to feel the 3D shape. And I'll just erase that line, because that's the hidden line I can't really see. That's up and twisting over, so that's a peculiar one. So yeah, that kind of comes down here, with the next one like that, I think. And then it kind of, at this point is where it's twisting, you can't see any lines on the end part of that. Coming over, he's got a line just visible there, so the next one will be perhaps along here. Then on the back, again, because it's underneath, so it'll be about there. And yeah, that sort of comes down then as it twists over. That's a horrible one to try and draw, I think. So again, let me just shrink that down. And there must be one more to finish on, so I'll put that underneath there. So let me do a large one here. Yeah, what are you up to today, Jose? What are you working on? What are you doing? Or are you just having a nice relaxing Sunday? So I've got 9 shapes on here. Let me have a look here. Which one haven't I done? So I've done some of the easy ones first. Up and over, underneath. I've got that that one. Have I got, there's a simple one, yes, I've got him the bottom right. Maybe I should have split the screen up into 9 pieces. I'm tempted to bring that into that way, so make it easier to see. So that's the bottom left. The bottom right was this one here. Just makes it easier for me to see which I've already drawn. What's this one? This is the woohoo, which is the very centre. I've not done the bottom centre. That one wasn't one of the 9, so I'll leave him there. That is the top left, so that's correct. I'll leave that up there. top centre I didn't do. Little ski slope is centre left. I won't enlarge them, that's fine. That is the bottom middle, and this one is the centre right. There we go. So I've not done the centre, the top centre, which is a bit like this one here, although that's not quite the same angle, so I might redo that one. Yeah, there's a couple of them that's quite similar to each other. And it's not important to get these shapes. These aren't specific shapes it's chosen, they're just some shapes that's been chosen. So let me just do a couple of the top ones I've already kind of attempted that one. So this one comes up, then there's a steeper curve, then over down to here. That sort of goes behind itself. That one goes behind there, and again. That one then will cut off there. So I'm trying to keep things as loose as I can to try and get me into that kind of a feeling. Okay. So again, halfway lines. So feel that curve. Yep. All I have to say is, oi, trying hard. It's an interesting little part of the exercise. When I was thinking about drawing hands, when I first watched this video, I was not thinking about this. I mean, why would I? Okay, and then the other halfway is behind the back part of here, which again, I'll just shade through that, like that. Okay. Yeah, Donald Duck's bills, of course. Yeah, that's got very much for that curved shape. Okay, so we should have one more. Let's squeeze one more in. Why not? Bring that image to front. Let's see. He's got a really twisty turny run at the top right. So let me have a go at that one. Zoom in to give me some bit more space. Can I bring that down? So use the selection tool. Just bring that down a little bit. Make the screen a bit larger. Grab the brush or pencil. I realised that, Tom, thank you, yeah. I'll try and get that right next time. You don't need to see or hear me doing that. A bit of gesture practice, nice. Baseball pitchers. I've seen baseball pitching being used quite a lot for animation practice in particular. Okay, try and get this curve up here. Yeah, I've not done just gesture practice, something again I ought to really work on sometime. Possibly during one of these streams. Okay, so you can't quite see the corners of this page, it's sort of up here somewhere. So get this little swooping thing in here. It comes up at the top a little bit, and then we've got the bottom corner under here coming through with a curve up there, which sort of comes up and then down to here. That comes across the opposite side. Yeah, this is a tricky one to visualise. And that then, I'm picturing that coming to this corner. It's kind of where I need it to be. So let me draw through and then erase the line that should be invisible. Okay, so let's get some of these halfway lines drawn in again. So that is kind of a curved underneath kind of a line. Like that. With that one should be curved a bit at the top. So I hope you're finding this both as tricky as I am, but possibly a little bit easier if you can. It's not likely to come super easy for you unless you've been through the practice before, but I'm sure some of you will have a good eye for doing this. Okay, and then that kind of, again, trying to see the size. So the corner is here and here. So the whole of this line, the edge, is kind of there, which I'm trying to look at. So yeah, so I'm looking at this line about here. Really, that comes up and joins onto that one. Is what is the curve I'm visualizing as it moves. And again, this one here will join onto the far side, and then one at the edge. With the halfway lines, again looking from the corner to corner, trying to picture how long it is. Is that one there? As I can see, that it appears to me. This one appears almost behind the curve, but I'll add that in there. And the other one is sort of on the top of the curve again. I keep curving at the quarter marks, so you can't see that. Okay, I'm happy with that for these shapes. I can see some more images appearing here from Null Val. Thank you, Null. Twisting and turning. You've got a really loose style that's working really well there. Okay, so lots of twisting and turning. Again, trying to simulate the hand twisting and turning just to get a feel for the shape of the hand in 3D space and picturing that moving around. So I'm going to bring the video back up onto my screen. Here we are. I'm going to mute the audio from the desktop for a second. And I'm going to hit play and listen to the next section and see what comes next. So as you said, this reminds me of a hand because of this shape. And this is one of the first features of this video that I've not heard about before. People talking about the front and the back of the hand. That he calls the palmar, which is where your palm is, the front part of your hand, and the dorsal at the back part of your hand. Really important part of his lesson about the hand, especially when it comes to the location of the finger joints. But we'll get to that in a little while. Hand structure. Okay, so it's talking about the structure of the hand, of the bones and the muscles underneath. Yeah, so this corner, he's talking about the L shape where the thumb is. Something about there being a bone directly there, not muscle around it. So in this picture, you can see the L shape of the thumb bone they've exaggerated for the cartoon for Klaus. So it's saying that the thumb, where the little finger comes down here, it takes kind of a small, narrow route, whereas the thumb takes a large route over the back of the hand there. Again, have a listen to this yourself to get the full clear explanation, but for those not listening to the audio or haven't been able to listen to it so far, I kind of try and fill in the gaps. And there's this kind of L shape around the thumb there, this part of your thumb he's showing. So something to keep in mind. Again, you can exaggerate in your cartoons and drawings. Okay, so that circle there is muscle he's trying to show you on the side. So it's a soft, squidgy muscle on the side of your little finger. And again around your thumb, so you've got two muscle areas here to keep in mind on the front. Okay, so he said he's not drawing the thumb and fingers yet because he's not covered it, but he wants to draw the basic part of the hand with the muscle for the thumb pad and the one around the little finger a little bit as well. You can see him kind of drawing in here. So I'll let him get to the end of this. Okay, so it's got a lot of information here that you probably want to watch a couple more times as you get to this. And it's trying to show the basic layout and positioning of the hand, show the difference between the front and the back of the hand. And that when you show in the front of the hand, you can see that extra pad of muscle he's drawn in lightly around the thumb and around the little finger, and the L shape that is drawn in the corner of the thumb here, which is only kind of a slight L shape, but he's exaggerating it a little bit here. Okay, so that's the next part he wants us to draw. So here we are at 3:58. So again, let me pop this to the side of the screen here. Let's go to the next frame. And then at the top, go 03:58. So I'm basically going to sketch those sort of 6 drawings that he's got on the screen here to get a feel, start to get a feel for where the hand is. So again, I'm using the pencil brush, hitting save before we start, just in case. So starting off with the basics of the arm coming in. So he's got the L shape on the thumb coming out, quite a large one, and a smaller one for the little finger, just to get a feel for the different sides of the hand. Don't worry about the fingers yet, he said, just do the sketch at the top. It's kind of marking in where the fingers might be here, and then the thumb, big thumb muscle down here, he's drawn over with some contour lines to show that curvature, which is what we did in the first part of the lesson. We drew the lines, 4 lines in each direction to show where the body mass was curving, where that shape was curving. We won't draw the thumb on here yet, but he's got it kind of coming outwards for that. And a little one on here at the side where the little finger is for this pad on the palm there. He did say, as I'd mentioned at the start of the stream, to keep it light and sketchy as you're going through these drawings, so do so if you can. That's quite a small picture, so let's get a bit larger. So his next hand is coming off the side here, and again we're showing the front part of the hand with an L shape around the thumb, and we've got that pad of muscle, which again will add in the curvature to feel the shape of it. And he's got a curve for the hand, so it's like a begging hand shape. So let's pop in that little finger muscle in here. And he's got kind of this shape of the middle of the hand, ignoring the thumb where that goes off to, but the palm kind of comes down here, and he's got it going to kind of a point. And as he said, keep it light and loose as we're sketching through this. Do some extra lines in just to get a feel for the flow of the shape of the hand. And at the top right, it's the back of the hand we're drawing. So again, let's draw the arm coming in. That'll be curved over, so looking at the back of the hand in this position. We've got the curvature of the left part of the hand, the big L shape of the thumb again. So you can see it's the back of the thumb. The palm has got the halfway here. I'm going to move this into the screen a bit more to give me some space. Let's do some lines again to mark the centre of the hand, and then it curves up here on where the fingers are. I'm trying to keep this as loose as I can. Not worried about it going off the screen there. So again, it's the L shape at the front. A little bit of sort of padding where the little muscle part is for this little finger on there. Again, the bottom left, we're looking at the back of the hand, so the arm's coming down. The thumb is his, well, depending which side of the body you are, left hand I'm picturing. So we've got it coming out here, and then the L shape for the thumb, which doesn't need to be too angled necessarily. Down there, and then the hand sort of comes around here, and little curvature around the little finger, little sort of nugging outwards, coming around towards the tips. So let's just draw some lines over the back to try and get a feel for the curve of where we're looking around here, and the wrist curves that way. So we've got 3 more he's got here, and in this video he did suggest doing lots of these, so more than he's done. These aren't, again, the only drawing you should do, but it's kind of a suggestion of what he's done. So he says to draw lots and lots of them. So these is coming up, it's that kind of a angle for the hand, but looking from behind there, because at the top there's kind of some sort of curvature in some way. And again, I think trying to picture the first set of drawings we did, these sets of drawings where the lines are moving around the shape of the body, is the intention of what he's after. So we'll get a halfway line here, sort of the wrist here, and you can see the hand sort of coming around like that. So just try and feel that 3D space. Okay, 2 more. So a hand coming upwards, sort of wrist coming out. We're looking, again, make sure I can get it on camera. So I wanted a second camera looking down, really. That kind of a look for this next sketch. So the hand comes in, or the arm comes in, it comes up, and he's got that L shape for the thumb again, and then palm actually comes down. So he's got the curvature here for the padding for the again, the muscle on the little finger. Comes down and around like this, and the fingers, again, we're not worrying about exactly where they are. They're kind of that sort of direction. Like that, not adding too much detail into them. Main thing is thinking about that muscle coming down here, and again for the thumb, that coming over there, I think, is what we're after, with a middle line down the hand to show the direction of where we're moving to. And again, trying to think about smooth curved lines rather than super straight. And the final one, I kind of can't see the image here. Let me pop my earphone in, have a listen to what he's saying. Yeah, so it's then doing lots of repetitions of this. So practice a few different poses for this. The final pose was kind of a bit peculiar to see. I couldn't quite see what he was doing. Again, make sure the audio is off. I don't want to fall foul of copyright. Okay, so now we're getting to the fingers in the next one here. So let me bring this over so you can see what I can see, and we'll have a chat about what we're doing. So I hope that's going well for you for your sketching for that second section. I'm going to click around. Oh, right. Thank you, Blifton. I've seen a comment on the group I need to come back to later, which I will do so there. Okay, so let's have a look at this. So it's plotting the points on the ends of the fingers to follow that curve, and I think it's be pretty self-explanatory as you see the video. So yeah, it's plotting the point of where the fingers join at the tip and where they join on the hand, and it's that same curve but less sharp. And same on the back of the hand. It's sharp at the top, less sharp at the bottom, but still that same curve. So yeah, here you've got the fingertip shown in red, and then the purple, the lower part. Still the same curve, but less sharp. But you can still see that sort of the second finger is the longest and the highest up, but the second knuckle is also the highest up. That's quite an interesting thing I've not seen before. So here you can see it's drawn the curve on in red for the tips and purple for the sort of the inside of the knuckles where the fingers join to show that curve. And now talking about proportion, this is really interesting. I've not really considered before, so this is really interesting. So this is one of the things that surprised me in this video that I've not seen before, and I've seen other videos about hands, is considering where the fingers join on the front and on the back. And because of sort of the webbing of the fingers and where the knuckles are, if you're looking at your palm, you might think your fingers start here, and as you draw them they do, but as you look on the back, really the fingers start at the knuckles. As is showing here at the back, the knuckles are halfway between the wrist and the tip. So if you see the back of someone's hand, it's easy to know where to start drawing from the back. So yeah, so where the hinge is, which is halfway between the full length of your hand to the wrist, that's halfway, but on the inside, where it hinges, is further into the palm. Yeah, as he says there, the fold there shown on your hand is opposite the knuckles on the other side. Okay, so the next practice is the one we've just done. Let me just get to the end of this section and I'll pause it on this image for myself. There we go. So let me go back. There we go. And I'll put this onto the second screen now. Absolutely. There's so much to think about and remember about proportions and the human body anatomy. I've not done much study of this at all. I've done some basic study, but this is really fascinating, and because I think as animators we're going to be using the hand quite a lot, it's important to get down, so I wanted to make sure I'd taken a good look at this one. I'm not going to work through the whole body, but certainly the hands are so important. The hands and the face are really the two parts to concentrate on, I think. So the plan for this next section, I've paused it on 6:04, and I'll keep noting down the times as much for me as it is for you. So 06:04. So the idea is to draw the hand shapes as we had before, but we're now going to extend onto the fingers, thinking about the length of the fingers. Not separating them up, keeping the hands fairly open, as he did in the previous sketches. So again, let me bring that onto the screen. So the hands are all fairly open here, but just doing that mitten shape with the end of the fingers. So you're not going to open the fingers at all, just to figure out, looking at the back of the hand, the knuckle line is halfway, and looking at the front of the hand, this crease in your hand is the halfway point where the knuckles are on the opposing side, and then the fingers where the gaps are start slightly higher, just getting used to those different shapes. So just before I start that, Nulval has done the second section. So again, let me pop that on there. Excellent. So again, it's as I can see, you've drawn the shapes around the muscle for the thumb and around the little finger. Just start to get a feel for that 3D area. That's really good. And start to think about the shape of the overall hand. So that's the same thing again, but with the mittened fingers, the mittened look. So again, while I'm doing this, I'm not playing it, so I'll pop the music back on for the background. Just a little bit of background there for us. Okay, so looking at his image, again I'm clicking this button to reset my view. Pencil brush, I will zoom in a little bit so I can get more space. It's the same sort of drawing as the last one. And although at this time point, 6:04, he's got some hand sketches he did, as he said, draw some more, take your time. So outside of the stream, I want to come back through these and have another go at drawing these shapes. So we'll start off with that L shape on the thumb, and that goes off somewhere. We're not drawing thumbs yet. And there's a curve here for the palm coming up to where the fingers are. So again, let's get the thumb muscles in place. The little one building around to the little finger. Coming down here. Let's get a line down the centre and figure out where that centre crease is. There. And your fingers are curving up. So again, it's that kind of a beckoning hand shape we're trying to draw here. So that curve up here, and trying to picture the space from the wrist to that line to the fingers all being kind of equal. So we've got that curve and trying to think about it, the shape of it. So with the four fingers and the second finger being the tallest, so it curves up a little bit nearest the thumb, and then a sort of more gentle curve around here. And that seems to be all we're after for this session. So he's got it kind of coming down and then around like this. So I can see people are joining us and leaving us on the chat. If you're just joining us, do come say hello. Let me know who's out there. And if you're able to join in with the practice we're doing today. Second one is hands coming up here. Again, start with the little finger curving, going too massive there, curving around, and the thumb with this L shape, he's drawn it quite dark in his sketch, and it goes off there somewhere, and then the palm comes up. Again, thinking about the muscles first, so we've got the thumb and the little finger down here somewhere, and the wrist to the centre point. So we're looking at the underside, the face of the palm of the hand. And again, a bit of a curve up for the fingers. Trying to keep that the same length with a curve up and then down there. Thinking about the second finger being the longest. So the centre point, again, will mark of the hand coming up there and down here. Yeah, with the arm at the bottom. He's drawn a very large one to the right. Let's try and do something similar. So the arm comes in here. We're looking at the left hand. Let's get this right. Get this correct, I should say. Looking at the left hand, and there's the shape of the thumb there, but the L shape. We can't see the palmar, so we can't see that muscle. We're looking at the back part of it. Then we've got kind of the inside of the thumb curling up, and this is kind of one sweeping shape he's drawn up here. and the same on the other side. So again, trying to picture where the wrist is, the halfway where the knuckles are, he's kind of got here. And we've got that curve again, trying to think about the knuckles, and it's higher up on the right hand side of the hand and longer on the left, again because it's the second finger that's the longest, so that needs to be higher that way. Think about where the fingers are then, that is kind of the top of the screen here. A longer curve down that side. I'm trying to mark that off of where that is. I've gone literally halfway, but as I'm looking at his drawing, I realise he's kind of twisted the hand a bit, so it needs to be over this side a little bit more, really. So yeah, so we've got this L shape for the thumb. Looking at that. A curve into the thumb. I'm going to grab the eraser and just whiz some of these lines out, just so it's a bit clearer where they're supposed to be. Okay, so then let's come down here. We're looking at the outside. Again, it's a beckoning hand, still keeping the mitten shape of the fingers all together and sort of coming towards us. We're saying come here. It's a left hand again, so if you're right-handed, it's a really handy exercise looking at the left hand, because you can see part of the muscle of the thumb there, by the looks of it, at the far side of the hand. So let's get the wrist in first. Trying to keep it as loose as I can. That comes up here for the back part of the hand, up to the halfway point where the knuckles are. Grab the eraser just to tidy that up a tiny bit. So that comes up here with, we've got the thumb, looks of it, coming over the back like that. And then the fingers are coming up here. I'm trying to look at the length of where they should be. Yeah, the curve coming this way. So kind of the tallest finger is here, and there's the screen right of the drawing there. And again, he's drawn some extra guidelines just to show him sort of the position of where that hand is, to mark the contours of the hand over here. I've got this grey colour for my pencil. It might be worthwhile bringing down the opacity actually, because I'm drawing quite heavy, just so I can get some lighter lines in. Okay, and the last one he's got in his sketches comes down from the opposite side, so the arm comes in here, and it's the back of the hand again, and this is kind of a rough one, a rough drawing. He's got the halfway line again drawn in, back of the knuckles, and again really we need to draw that with the highest knuckle nearest the right. So that's really showing where the halfway line is coming through on there. And now I've got that, we can draw the fingers. This is the least clear of the drawings I think we've got so far. It's not really got much of the shape of the hand in here at all, but we've got a feel for, I think, the halfway lines and the rough shape. So that's fine, I think, as far as we need to do today for this section. Okay, so now I've done that, I can bring up the darkness and reset the view. Grab a quick drink of tea. I think what I'll do next, let me have a little listen to the next section, give you a chance to finish off these sketches if you want to share them with us. Again, make sure the audio is turned off. Yeah, the thumb. Okay, so I thought it was next, the thumb. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take another short break, going to get myself a fresh cup of tea. You keep sketching these shapes out to get a feel for the location of the knuckles here, both on the outside of the sketches and that crease on the inside. That's a really useful marker of where to draw that in. And then when we come back in 5 minutes, we'll take a look at where the thumb goes. So I'll see you back here in about 5 minutes. See you then. As we get to the next section of the video, so let me bring that over. We're going to talk about the next section, the thumb. Put my earphones in. And again, do have a listen yourself to hear exactly what he's going to say about this. Do have a listen yourself to hear exactly what he's going to say about this. Streamalai! Hello, welcome to the stream. Good to have you with us today. How are you doing today? There we go, got a little bit of feedback. Yep, hopefully I've sorted that, Null, thank you. Let's see. Right, has that sorted it? No, I can still hear me. Bear with, let's figure this out between us. not sure that's coming through. I've turned all of those off. How about that? No, that's still coming through. Is that still echoing for you? Can you tell me? Yeah, I can hear myself, and I shouldn't be able to. That's the weird thing. It's all gone a bit crazy on the technical side today. Oh, is it that one? Yes, that's got it for me. Right, that's what it was. I'd got YouTube channel open earlier to check for the start of the stream, and I still had it running. Right, okay, so we're looking at the thumb now. So hopefully I've muted the audio for this video for you. So again, I don't get copyright striked. Let's listen to what he says about the thumb. Okay, so it's firing out information here, so do take a listen to the video when you get a chance. So as mentioned about there being two main points for the thumb to consider. One is this bone here, the corner of that L shape that we was talking about and drawing earlier, and that sticks out, so that's kind of an important one to notice as a landmark when drawing. And also for animation, I guess, that's another one of those areas of the hand or part of the body that you can exaggerate and choose to make it extra large for like an older person, or bonier hands for a scary witch or whatever. And then there's this part, the hinge for the top part of the thumb to allow that movement. Right now he's talking about picturing the thumb as a box. And if you're looking at it straight on, you can see where the corners of the box are, but as you turn it round, how can you see the corner of the box? And that's the corner showing, the line showing the corner of the box turning round. So again, it's talking about that being a box and where the corners are, and he's saying picture a canoe because it curves up. So if you rotate it, you kind of can't see one side of it. And this is where he drew the line on the thumb to show you the corner of that canoe. And now he's trying to trace it on here to show how it's drawn. So drawing the base of the thumb first, and now he's drawing the far side of the thumb, turning around. So again, back to Klaus. Okay, so let's think about grid lines drawn over the thumb to mark the location in space. Okay, so he's talking about, again, I can't play this audio for you, unfortunately, but he's talking about the thumb, how it's bent backwards, and in the Klaus cartoons, it's slightly exaggerated, but he's now showing a video to show really that the thumb does bend backwards. So again, it's just showing you how the thumb looks in different positions. Yeah, so that's really important. When the thumb's bent, as it's saying, look for the crow's foot shape where you get the extra creases coming around part way of the thumb, not all the way around, but part way, which helps to describe that curvature again of where the fat is on the thumb. Again, back to those muscle groups. Okay. Again, I think that video is quite self-explanatory about the muscle appearing as you close your thumb. Okay, so it's talking about when the thumb's pressed in is when you see that muscle on the outside more. So if you check it with your own hand, squeeze the thumb in and look at the extra muscle on the back of your hand appear. Okay, so I've not drawn anything for the thumb yet, so let me do a couple of those sketches for the thumb here that he did as well, just to get around them. So I'm skipping back to the beginning of this section, so that's at 6 minutes 20 or so. Okay, so it's going to the canoe shape and it's drawn the thumb sticking up there. Okay, so let me go to the next frame here. So there's a few different images he's drawn. So let me I'll number them as I go through. So 725 is the first one I'm going to take a little look at. So this is where he's got his thumb from the front sticking up like this with a bit of a curve, and he's got more of a curve than I have with my thumb. They can all change and be different shapes. So let's get started. So start off by drawing that. I'll start in the middle and then we can move it to fit the space. That L shape that we've been drawing all along for the thumb, and then it's kind of drawn a bit of a crease here in the thumb as it then comes up over the top and then curves around. And it's difficult to draw the curves. I'm looking at the opposite screen here, and it's drawn the thumb curving right round quite low, and again I'll just grab the eraser and take that down, and then he's got the rest of the hand coming up here and disappearing off. So it's got these curves around here and the thumb curves up. He's got it pretty straight here. I think I've made it a little bit too large. So I'll add those extras in and then grab the eraser and take out the rest. Okay, and from there you can also see the creases of the hand. So that sort of comes around here, and then we've got the padding that we've been looking at, the muscle that comes over here. It sort of comes around that sort of an area. Okay, so let me push that up to the corner. Again, holding shift, scale that down a little bit. And again, I'll go to that video and hit play. Okay, then the next one is with the Klaus drawing. So the next sketch he's got around 7:57. So let me do that, hit save before going any further. Okay, so again he starts off with the sharp L shape for the thumb. Again, let me bring it down here so I can really see what I'm doing. So this is the Klaus thumb, so that's where he's got an L shape. And again, let me just quickly pop it on the screen for you if you're watching along to any of this. There we are. So it's this image I'm trying to draw from the video. So it's the Klaus exaggerated thumb with some foreshortening of the thumb coming towards the screen. And Maria's shared some images there. So I'm looking through some of those. Again, I don't know if you're happy for me to share them on the stream or if you're just happy to have them in the Discord. Do let me know which you prefer. And we'll come back to that in a second. Okay, so that L is a little bit wrong. So it comes out and then up is where he's got it. And it sort of comes up here for the thumb. Go from the opposite side. It goes up and then around. And the landmarks he talked about was the top of the nail. And if I do the bottom of the nail as well, I'll be able to see exactly where I'm going with this. And it kind of goes with that little crease on the back of the thumb curve there that we talked about, the first part of the bend, and then back down ready for the L shape. And you've got that curving off, and as you said in the video, you'll hear when you listen to it, you can then follow the rest of the landmarks we've spoken about earlier on. So the hand coming up. We've got the knuckles coming over here, sort of halfway. And then you've got a mad finger that shoots off. I'm not going to worry about it too much. And the other fingers are kind of coming in from that sort of knuckled area. I'm not going to be too concerned with that, but I'll add in sort of the halfway markers so I can feel where the hand is going. And there is a bit more of a really padding here for the thumb than I've done. So let me just make sure I've got some of that going in there and up to the top. But it's the thumb we're really focusing on, so that's kind of that second part. So again, grab the selection tool. Let's pop this up here. I'm holding shift. Scale it down a little bit just to give me some more space for other sketches. Okay, Maria, thank you. Let me take a look at these on the screen. Let me bring them up here then. So these are Maria's sketches. Shame you can't skip through one at a time. Yes, so that's the curved one. And again, that centre line I'm finding is really useful. That even if there isn't necessarily a line on your hand, front or back, to mark the centre point, drawing a line through the centre, I'm feeling I can see the 3D form a lot better in my own sketches I've been doing. And again, I think these are coming through okay on the stream. You can see these all right. So you've done separate sketches on different images, which is fine. Yes, they're coming through really nicely. And again, I think on the previous one, actually, the comparison of the wrist to the shape of the hand coming out is superb there. That was something I was really struggling with on the 11-second club, as I was trying to draw the hand coming off. And I almost ended up with a square part of the wrist as it came off. It just wasn't right. That's really good there. And the curve over the top really shows that the thickness of the palm. Yeah, that's your curved. And that's kind of your tight grip, nice. Yeah, these are coming through really nice. And Tom? Yeah, why waste so much paper? I can see you straight away, it jumps out, you're getting those muscles in place. The finger muscle I'd not really noticed before, and it's not super huge. It is there. If you grab your own hand, you can feel it in there. I would never have thought to draw it, but as you look at it in a 3D form, you can kind of see a bowl, a well shape with the muscle near your little finger, take that out, on the right, and the one near your thumb, creating this bowl shape in the middle. So you start to throw a bit of shading on there. He's done a lot of shading on his drawings in the video. I've avoided that so far. I'll come back to that later. And then we've got null vowels as well. Thank you. Awesome. Again, I can start to see with the extra lines on that 3D shape, the thickness of the hand, which for me is really good to see. And it's what I was struggling with as I was drawing it. I was almost drawing flat pieces of paper curving. Nice thumb, yes. It's weird that particular view of the thumb with the foreshortening coming towards yourself. Awesome, thank you. So I've done his thumb quite small here, so I'm going to quickly throw another one in. and see how that goes. You need a lot more practice than one drawing per pose, so the more you can do, the better. And I'll no doubt do some more, as I say, off stream, whether it be during the week or the following week or something. And the thumb sort of comes away here. Okay, let's bring down the opacity a second, a little bit, make it easier. Curves right round, and it's kind of got this part for the top of the nail. And again, following up someone else's drawing is going to be different than drawing this neatly yourself, but it's a nice way to get started. And he's got that coming up then for a little bunching thing, and then that's quite a long way off, so let me grab the selection tool, the benefits of using computers, and bring that down so it's not quite so long, so it comes straight round in towards that L shape for the edge of the thumb there. And again, that then curves off up here. Try to look at the sort of angle, and I'm looking at his sketch rather than the cartoon, but yeah, that kind of a thing with the wrist, looking at the dimensions and the shape of it. Grabbing that large eraser and then trying to get a bit of a curve in here. It's got the knuckle coming round here, which I think you really want to consider for the curve for the top of the fingers as well. So now I've got that, I can then have the corner there for the other fingers to do their thing. And again, let me just quickly throw in some halfway lines. Yeah, I think that's much better. Exaggerate that a little bit maybe, because it is the back of the hand we're looking at. Okay. Nice thumb, Tom. Tom Thumb. Maybe that's your new nickname. Kevin, hello. Kevin B. Hall or Kevin Ball. Good to have you with us. It goes really well. Thanks for joining us today. Good to have you here. Not so far, but I'm not really pushing to Homer so far. I'm using 1.3, as you can probably tell by the screen here. I've not noticed any speed up, but if you are noticing some, that's great news. I really hope we have. I've heard some folks commenting about the latest OpenTunes being a bit slower, especially if you're using a little bit of the smoothing. I saw a report on one of the channels only this morning about that. So if Tahoe going quicker, then superb. That's really good news. And Jer's here. Hello, Jer, our prize-winning, top of the board, 11-second club entrant. Welcome. Good to have you here. I don't know if you've checked out the 11-second club results for last month yet. They came out on Thursday or Friday, I think it was. It's on the 6th, which was Thursday. But I believe you came top out of all the guys here in the Discord server and in our little community. Out of us lot, you came 35th, I think it was. But well done. Great entry. You've got some superb comments, as expected, on your entry, so that's good to see. But we talked about that at the start of the stream, but good to see that in there. Ajahn, hello, welcome. No problem at all. I'll be here for perhaps another hour or so, maybe, doing some sketching, the sketching session, working on the hand and getting a feel for how the hand moves. You're welcome to join us. If you've got time to do some drawing with us, either on the computer or grab a pencil and paper to do some sketching. Implicit holds, now I've started using them, I really enjoy them. It didn't take long to start enjoying them. For today's session, I've actually turned implicit holds off, which you can do with this button here, the fourth button in on the toolbar over there, because I only want to show each sketch for the one frame while I'm sketching on it. I don't need that today. I'm using this as a drawing program rather than animation program today. It really will. From using OpenTunes 4 or 5 years ago when I started and having to explicitly set the hold of drawings, that worked fine. I didn't have a problem with it. I know a lot of people come from other programs found it peculiar because they were used to implicit holds, but it was fine. But then as soon as I started using it into Homer, it makes total sense. It's great to have. It'll save a lot of clicks, especially with retiming. I showed in the video, I think it's for the Patreon users, their version of the video, where I had an extended video for them. I think it's for them, or it could have been for the main one, I can't remember now, that just changing the timing, if I move this frame over here to frame 18, move the frame 5 to the middle, with implicit holds turned on, it means that drawing 4 is shown until it hits the next drawing 5, and that's shown till it hit drawing 6. And in this system, to reduce how many frames drawing 4 is shown for and increase frame 5, you can just move one drawing, and now suddenly drawing 4 shows for less time and drawing 5 shows for longer. So to adjust the timing in between keys or a movement is so much easier with the implicit holds. So it's going to really save time once you get into the system of using them. Hands are very hard, as I found out during my entry to the 11 Second Club, and this is exactly why we've got this stream today. I wanted to work on hands, take my time and have a look through them, and it's a bit of a slow stream today, so I'm not piling in lots of information about the program, animation or drawing. I'm actually working through this video that I've linked down below in the description from, I've forgotten his name already, apologies to you, I forgot what's his name, where's his, there he is, of course, Marco Bucci. Made a video about drawing better hands, and you can find a link to that down below. I'd strongly recommend, if you're interested in improving your hand drawing and understanding hands, to take a watch of this. Really useful stuff. You beat me to it, I suspect, Tom. It's worth taking a listen to how he explains things. I'm playing through the video today, I'm working on it, but I'm not actually playing the audio for you because I don't want to get a copyright strike, and it's not fair. Take a look at his channel to have a listen to it. Give him the extra view, and perhaps take a look around his other videos while you're there. Norval's added some shading into his hand there. So while we're doing some sketching, we're sharing what we're doing here, and we're showing that live while we're here as well. So here's Norval's thumb on this particular layout. Again, lovely curve on that. And we've got the opportunity to exaggerate any part of the hand, so you can exaggerate the curve, the thickness of the thumb, the thinness of the joint for the thumb or the wrist or whatever you're working on. Nice one. Exactly, Kevin. Hand drawn, exactly that. Klaus has got amazing, it's great drawings overall, but some of the thumb and the hand expressions are really good study material, which is what he's done for this video. So I've done a couple of sketches of this. I'll make sure the audio's turned off there, and let me just have a listen to the next section and see where we are. That's right, he was drawing the thumb and considering all the hand shapes in this particular scene, to consider how the thumb looks in each of them as it moves around, and it just seems so solid in all of these drawings here. So it's talking about the padding on the inside of the hand. There's that L shape again, that point here you can see on the edge of the thumb. So here's the next one we'll sketch. Looks at that crow's foot shape for the creases in the thumb. And it's saying that about these two muscle groups bunching up gives you almost a straight line between the two, which is nice. Okay, so let's skip back and I'll have that. We'll draw this one. So here we are at 8:56. So again, I'm just kind of working through the video, picking off sections and doing a bit of a sketch myself. I might actually throw down a bit of shading just to see if I can match similar to what he had there, to get a better feel for the shape of the hand. A comment from Kevin, something you'd like to see. You can't move layers around in an absolute way. A keyframe always has to be created. I'm not quite sure what you mean there about moving layers around in an absolute way. A keyframe has to be created. If you can explain that a little more, that'd be nice. I know you've used the program for a long time, so I realise that you know. You probably know, I was going to say as much as me. That sounds terrible. You know plenty about the program as I do. So there's things you could probably teach me about it. But interested in what you're trying to do or what you think would be useful there. Always interesting to see how other people like to use the program, which is often different to me. Okay, let's have the wrist first. Start off with, again, that little bunching of the little finger first. And then we'll bring in the start of the hand first, and then that L shape. So it's kind of that point we're looking at here for the L shape, which is that bony part of the thumb there. And it comes up and then curves over because we're bunching in, and we'll add that curve into the thumb here. And again, it's that canoe shape that he talks about when you listen to the video. Imagine it's a box. So it's thinking about the thumb in this position as kind of a three-dimensional box. We bring up the brightness. So we're looking at that sort of a shape. You're trying to see these corners, the one nearest to you in the far corner, but there is some twisting and turning you need to consider, and that's the canoe thing that he talks about. Yeah, I'm not sure. Here we go. I was going to say, Tom, I'm not sure quite what you're trying to do there, Kevin, but let's see. Yeah, it's often hard to explain, easier to demonstrate, which is why I often ask for a GIF animation or screen recording to show me quite what you want. But I'm always intrigued on what people are trying to do and how they use the program, especially those that have used it for a while, which is why I'd rather take the time to understand. Okay, yeah, you're doing camera movements and you mount onto a layer, so a drawing layer, at a certain position at a certain time. Oh, right. So you're talking about adding a keyframe, say on frame 1 to put a position for the layer, and you want it to change on frame 60, say. But you don't want it to animate between the two. That's fine. That's pretty straightforward to do. If I understand you correctly. So if you create using the animate tool, I hit save before I do this so I can ignore any problems. Let me zoom out. I use that drawing for drawing number 6. Let me turn on implicit hold so I've not got to copy it. So drawing 6, I want to position this over here, and then say frame 20, you want to change the camera to be positioned here, but you don't want that animation in between. Is that right? Would that be right? Yep, it will instead animate between the two. So what you do, if you know you've got an animation, or as soon as you realise you've got an animation key earlier on the timeline, if you want to then on frame 20 have it in a different position, the easiest way is to go to frame 19, hit the key button to add a key, so that will kind of duplicate the key that's on frame 6. So from 6 to 19 there'll be no movement, and then on frame 20 do the second position. So from 6 to 19 there's no movement, and then it will jump. Is that the kind of thing you're talking about? So yeah, hit the key button to duplicate the key. You can select the key, press Ctrl+C to copy and paste it on 19. That's something you can do. But by pressing the key button, it'll create a keyframe for any changed values, including your Z depth. Exactly null, that's just where I was going to go next, and Tom for the same option. So I'll delete those keys, and on frame 20 we want the position over here. That then gives us the animation. If you don't want that animation, right click on the white line and then choose constant interpolation. So that keeps the value constant from frame 6 until it changes, so you get that jump. So that's right clicking on the white line to change the interpolation type. And there's 5-6 different ways to change it. That's the quickest one, direct from the timeline. But if you know that you don't want any animation, you want that kind of jerky jumping from one key to another without animation, then you can set the default interpolation in the preferences, animation section, and set the default one here to constant. And then when you next add a set of keys, it won't change between keys, it won't interpolate and animate. I like speed in and out for the default one, but you can change it on the fly, as I say, by right clicking on the white line. You'd like a move layer option that does not create keyframes. So if it doesn't create a keyframe though, how does it know where you're moving to? The keyframe just shows you the position. So if it's a different position to what you had previously, you do have to have a keyframe. I've not used Toon Boom, so I don't know quite how they do it or how it's presented. But there's a few different options you can do here in Tahoma and OpenToonz. But if you can describe that in a feature request, maybe it might be worth popping in, especially for Tahoma. OpenToonz, it's not likely to get implemented, I don't think, but for Tahoma it could well do so. So it might be worth putting that together. And if you can record a video of Toon Boom, how that works, that would be really helpful to be able to see the alternative way of doing things. Okay, so I've got my thumb here with a bit of a curve, and it curves around to here, and then down. But then we've got these crow's feet coming over here, and then a very sharp kind of a crease, a fold in the skin. And you can do as many lines as you need to do to describe what you're trying to do. I will add in this extra line down here to show the padding of the thumb, and then come up the centre as we had. Let's get the thumbnail in here as well. And then of course you can add any extra lines and marks you think are necessary. So yeah, it's that a bit too narrow there, so let's bring that up here. Again, trying to use my whole hand to draw the lines rather than just use my fingers to twist it through, so I won't get as clear of a line that way around. Let's mark in again the halfway here. Bring that down a little bit, and think about where the knuckles are. Looking at the length of where these where the crease is across the middle of your hand, and the line is where your fingers appear to join on the palmar side, and then the length of the thumb, which goes above that crease. So where your thumb curves, it's kind of where that crease is, where the knuckles are, and then where the thumb goes is above those gaps between the fingers. I'm thinking about that length there. So where that thumb fold is kind of where the knuckles are, the crease is there, and your fingers will start just sort of above them up here. But I'm not going to be concerned about drawing the fingers because we're not at this stage. Just catching up with the chat here before I continue with this drawing. No problem at all, Kevin. Happy to have a chat. That's what we're here for. If I wasn't going to have a chat, I wouldn't run a stream. I'd just record a video of this and pop it out there. Even if the chat derails entirely from what we're doing, not a problem. That's the point of having the stream. Let me read through the question first, but I think I might have an alternative thing of what you're asking here. Would I be right in saying that you only want to have kind of one keyframe? You want it to last for the whole of the timeline, So if you happen to have put an animation keyframe earlier in the animation, and then at a later stage, actually you want it here in a slightly different place. So you'd have to delete the first key so it lasts, that position lasts through the whole of the animation. Is that kind of what you're asking about? Because yeah, if you add a later animation key, as soon as you realise there's a white line and some interpolation, you could delete the previous key. There are the options, of course, in the context menu. If you right-click on a key, to select the previous keys in this column, and then you can, I guess, Control deselect the current and then tap delete, so you haven't got to scroll back to get to any previous keys. And you've got the key buttons, of course, to skip forward and backwards if you want to. But yeah, I think I know what you're saying, but that sounds like it could be useful. Yeah. I'm not sure, Tom. Perhaps you can confirm, Kevin. Are you talking about having two key positions, or later in the animation realising you want to change the key position and only having one for the whole animation? I'm feeling that's what you're talking about, where you're talking about an absolute position. You're talking about just the one keyframe for the whole animation that you don't realise until later on exactly where you want that position. So it's just about deleting an earlier keyframe, I think. Okay, I wanted to add a bit of colour to this. Let me grab the paintbrush tool. I'll add another colour in here. I want it kind of a pale grey colour as he's got. So let's make this a bit larger. So an overall pale grey colour. And really for today, for what I want, I'm not interested in colour. I'm just trying to get the feel for the shape of the hand here is what I'm after. But by having some colour, just areas, here we are, it means that you can more easily see some of the shape. So pale grey, bit darker grey, bit darker grey. So I've got 3 shades here. So he's kind of added a bit of colour. Trying to use the pressure sensitivity to have a thinner line. No, I'm just getting the one size. Let's just make this smaller then. A bit too small, I think, there. So he's kind of putting a bit of this on here. I've got that issue. I need to unplug my tablet again. So I can see it's putting dots on the page before I touch the screen. So I need to unplug. I'm replugging my tablet. It's a long-standing issue that I finally realised a quick fix for. So now I wonder if I've got the pressure sensitivity. So thin to thick. Yes, I have. So that's kind of an indication I need to do that. So I can have the pressure sensitivity now. Again, a separate feature into Homer that OpenZooms doesn't have. For the paintbrush tool, I can paint a thin line or a thick line by changing the min and max size on there. I'm going to make these colours slightly closer together. Just kind of throwing some shade in here. Just try and add some colour onto the thumb to add some depth. And then you also had quite a light one. You put a couple of things on a couple of marks on the fingernail. Around here. Okay. Just remove those silly messages. Right. Let me see if I can do this muting thing again. Back in 1 second. So I was reading through the chit chat here about Kevin's suggestions. So auto update. Yes, I did exactly the same, Tom. I hit report first and then I kicked them out of the channel. Yeah. Let me jump to the animate tool. So where did you turn off auto update, Tom? Auto create key off. Yeah, where is that? Because that sounds really useful. Oh, I see. I understand. Sorry, I thought you meant there was that feature already there. Auto create in the hold frames feature. Yes, so this option at the bottom, now the timeline somewhere, creation in hold cells. Yes. So if I extend that, with that turned on, and if I draw in frame 9, it creates a new drawing 7. Undo that. But with that turned off, if I draw in frame 9, that now just amends drawing number 6, the previous drawing. So you're suggesting the same thing. So your any changes to the animation, the position using the animate tool would affect the previous key, not create a new key. I said that in far too many words, but yeah, that'd be really useful. I like that. We hit save, so I know exactly where I am. Oh, you're not crazy. The thing is, Kevin, the only problem is there's so many ways of working that people will always have some other idea of how best to work. But it's always best to hear them because the way you envision things to work could be useful for the rest of us. So if that feature can be implemented, it'll benefit us all, just like the implicit holds. I wouldn't have asked for that before. I didn't think I needed it. I was happy working the way I did. And I've seen other software, I think Toon Boom does it, does the implicit hold, so you just create drawings at the frames that you want, not in between. And I've seen that and thought, I don't really need that, that's fine. But now I've seen it working and used it into Homer, I love it and I will be using it a lot. So this could be exactly the same thing, so good to have you sharing that idea. Okay, so I've drawn this one in here. No, the scripting feature is very, very slight. You can't do as much in there as you might want to do and as you think you can do. So you just want to put a couple of lines in here. To show that extra padding on that muscle, just to remind me, because again it's a sketch session, it's not a final drawing, so the lines don't have to be accurate, but they're just kind of contour lines to remind me about where the that muscle is on the thumb there. Absolutely, Kevin. I've done it on shorter periods, so I've put an animation key on frame 1 and then on frame 20, 30 I then find the real position, but then I have to go back and delete it. It's not a biggie, but on long animations I can see it being really useful. Oh, an earlier answer to the earlier question, by the way, he's asking about working on a Mac. Sorry, Kozo. Yes. To home and not working on a Mac. I don't know at all. Apart from the M1, there's an issue with M1. I don't know if that's for OpenTunes or to Homer. I can't remember. But that's something to keep in mind, that there is an issue with the M1 chipset, but I don't fully know what it is. But I can see that Kevin is sorting that out. Is it K-Ball or Q-Ball on the Discord site? I'm not sure. Can't remember. With your crazy, wacky cartoons, I love those animations over the full video. At some point, I want to do something like that myself, an experiment, and perhaps put a tutorial video together to show how to do that. It's pretty straightforward, but I think it could be a fun video to do. Let me take a look through the rest of this video then, see what else there was about the thumb. Yeah, so you mentioned the extra padding on the back of the thumb, back of the hand here, between the thumb and the fingers to consider. Yeah, so that's something to add when drawing from behind. Please do, Kevin, yeah. Okay, so let me go back to these. A couple of sketches on this before we go to the next section of this muscle on the back of the thumb. Yeah, I'd love to see how you work with that, because I've got my own ideas about how you do it, of course, but you're the expert. You've made loads of these things, so I'd love to see how you put it together. But it just looks like a fun thing to do, so I can't wait to have a bit of a play myself. Okay, so I forgot to add in the time for this section. That's not a problem. Next one is 9:29. So a couple of images here. So these are quite small, so let me zoom in to allow me to use more of the screen space. Yeah, no problem. Thanks for dropping by, and thanks for joining in the chat. You're welcome back anytime. Hey there, Casa. So if you want to send, you say how to send clips to appear in the kitchen layout. Basically, it's in the Discord channel. If you go to the OpenTunes to Homer 2D World section, and I've tried to make collapsible sections to make it easier to get to. So there's OpenTunes Art and OpenTunes Animations. So if you've got an OpenTunes or to Homer drawn static piece of art, pop it in the art channel. Or if you've made an animation as a GIF or an MP4 or WebM, pop it in the OpenTunes Animations channel. And it's OpenTunes and to Homer. It's both together with the related family. If you want it shown on the wall or on the fridge, just share it as you do with the background or what have you. But for a bit of fun, if you want to try sharing that version as well maybe, and one without a background. So if you share a PNG image with no background, or a GIF or WebM with no background, then it gives us more flexibility, and maybe you can appear outside in the garden through the window if you're drawing perhaps a character or something that could be outside. So I'm happy to mess about with something like that. So feel free to leave the backgrounds off as well, and maybe your drawing or character can appear in a different situation. A GIF, MP4 or WebM format. But the WebM formats really are only for rendering from to Homer. From OpenTunes, they don't quite work right. They don't get the transparent background. So yeah, if you do, then if it's in the garden, definitely a transparent background. Static image, PNG, animation, GIF. Please do, send it through. And either, if you want it public for people to see, put it in those two channels, the art or animation, or if you prefer, you can send it to me privately on the Discord server. If you want to check it out, let me have a look at it. If you want any feedback for how to include it. But I love sharing your art and animation in the kitchen. But this is something that we've not had much of this past week. I think everyone's working on other projects. There's not been a lot to include, and they've been quite busy today, so I've not had time to scour the Discord anyway. yeah, please do share what you've got. Oh, nice one, Noel. Why do you hate that pose? That's really good. I like that. You've hit the points again. I don't know if you've listened to the video or just watched what we've shared. You've got this that muscle group there coming down again near to the small one on the little finger side. So you've got the line down the centre. So it's kind of where you've gripped the hand together. That looks really nice. The thumb is a great angle you've got there. Again, when you listen to the video, you'll hear him talking about the canoe shape and how to draw that rotation. But you can see the side of the thumb and a bit of the top. Yeah, I like that. No, you should be proud of that one. That's a good one. Okay, so let me try and get the top muscle we're thinking about here. So we've got 3 sketches he's done. Let me do these quickly because I want to get to the next section. And unfortunately, I can smell cooking from Mrs. T downstairs. So we've got the little finger here sort of curved out on that side of the hand. So it's a right hand we're looking at here. So it comes up and we've got that L shape of the thumb. So the side of the hand and a matching one on the thumb here. He's drawn. And he's got I keep wanting to say knuckle, the elbow joint of the thumb there on here, and then the top of the thumb up here like this. But then in front of it, I can't draw the thumb coming down here because we've got that muscle group. This is kind of what this section is trying to demonstrate. So you've got this muscle coming in front of the thumb. So draw that sticking up to be more realistic. So it's that kind of a view that we're looking at, and you can see the muscle here coming up to where the knuckles are. So that sort of comes up and the knuckles then sort of come around. And he's kind of drawn the hand. In fact, he's got the fingers invisible, he's not drawn them on, coming up here like this. So again, let me just do the halfway line just to get a feel for this. I keep going exactly halfway visually, and it's not because the hand is twisted. So his halfway line is kind of a third up from the bottom, like that, as the hand is twisted. I won't draw the fingers on here. So I've got this muscle group, and that's kind of demonstrated like that. So the thumb disappears behind it, like that. Yeah, it's weird, Noel, focusing on small parts of the hand to draw just the thumb. When we're thinking about the hand, it's got to be, you know, I'm pointing that way. It's a big kind of single solid object, but it's not. It's made up of these small little pieces. So for me, this is kind of the first drawing that really shows that L shape that he keeps talking about in all of his videos. I can really see that point. As I say, hit it, you can feel the bone. The bone really sticks out at that section, so it's one to not miss. So that's the first sketch. We do another one here, so the hand's coming in from the side. Let's try and do this a bit smaller. He's got this kind of coming up and over, and it comes down. And you've got the padding there of the thumb, the L shape of the thumb there. I'll stick with the elbow. That's quite a nice term, I think, for that. And then the curvature of the thumb, which then comes around here. In fact, that's not right. It comes wider. That's it. It comes wider there, and then he's got the muscle then coming in there. Adding the nail really sets off the location of the thumb and the size, the position and size of it, the rotation of it, the size relative to the rest of the hand. And then he's got the muscle coming in here. In fact, let me rotate the screen. That's what I set it up for earlier. So with the thumbs like that, I've kind of got this coming round like that. that's made it much easier to draw that curve. And he's drawn the extra lines again just for him. So I'll do these quite light. They're not actually on the hand there. It's got the hand coming up here. It's kind of got the knuckles over there. And again, to draw the centre part of the hand, it's about a third along. He's drawn it, so I'll add that line on and a bit of a line over there. Okay, and the final one he's drawn is the hand being held down on the ground. So you've got the arm coming down here. Got it quite wide there. And he's got the hand on the ground at that kind of an angle. So he's got the kind of a massive muscle under here. And then he's got the thumb coming out here. The little elbow there. And the thumb comes towards us, again with that curve that seems a little bit unnatural, but only until you actually look at your own thumb and see that's really correct. Again, getting wider, so it goes narrower at the tip, so it goes wider up here. And that muscle comes down again into this part of the thumb in front of it. So again, let me throw in that nail just to position where the thumb's facing. And that muscle comes around here is what it's kind of got there. With the fingers coming off at the far side here, which we're not worrying about just yet. But they sort of come across that kind of a direction. And that muscle sort of flesh coming up there, just to get a feel for where that actually comes in. Okay, I'm not entirely happy with some of those, and that makes his thumb look strange because I can't see it kind of cutting in. Need that cutting into the thumb, I think. Over there a little bit. Okay, let's reset that. Hello, somebody's back in the chat. So let me just report them. Feel free to do that yourself, and then we'll remove them and kick them out. Yeah, of course, you've got the total 4 fingers, so 3 fingers and the thumb version of the hand for the cartoons. As I say, it's one of those things that you have to learn the rules before you can break the rules. So the idea is we're trying to figure out how a natural hand looks, then we can look at how a cartoon hand looks separately. Yeah, a few times. It'll take a few times to get through some of these drawings. And again, this is just my first run through, which is why I wanted to sort of note down the times near the drawings, so when I come back to it later in the week or some other time, I can see exactly what I was trying to draw there. Okay, so let's go to the next section. So that's the thumb complete. Well, I'll tell you what, if you could smell what I could smell now. Oh, I think we're having chicken. I think I can smell chicken cooking. Oh, it's really nice. Okay, let's see what we've got next. So, chapter 4, the fingers at last. So it's got his sponsor first. I'm going to skip through that this time, but it's worth taking a look at if you watch the video. Okay, let me bring that onto the screen and let us take a look at it. So, as I say, this is kind of the first part of it, maybe a 2-parter, maybe a 3-parter stream series. Today I want to look at this video for the basics of drawing the hand. Also kind of want to look at cartoon hands and consider them. I'd like to have some practice at just drawing hands, and then I want to do a little bit of animation with hands. So either I was going to pick an audio clip like the Klaus clip we see at the start of this video, where he's talking and moving, his hands are doing different gestures, and try and pick out the keyframes for that maybe, to get some practice at hands in different positions. Or to actually picture the hands doing something. So one thing I had in mind was maybe playing rock, paper, scissors. So you've got the different hand movements. Paper. So yeah, rock, paper, scissors. And there's a little bit of transformation and rotation between them. Not a lot, but a little bit. But I was thinking if you could animate that, rock, paper, scissors, playing some games, from a person on the right-hand side, and from the left-hand side maybe, so you can see the front of the hand and the back of the hand for two different hands, could be worthwhile doing to see the hands in different positions and the fingers working differently. So that was kind of maybe next week or the week after. So I'd like to do some drawing and then some animating with the hands. So that's kind of my thought. Oh, I love that picture, the MC Escher hand drawing a hand. I don't think I'm anywhere near close to that, but it could be an interesting one to have a draw of for some practice perhaps. Okay, so we're on the fingers. Let's see what he's got to say. Okay, so at this point he's talking about the fingers can be thought of as three cylinders joined to each other, but don't draw them with the first cylinder straight down, draw it at an angle, that way. And that's because the knuckle is further back on the hand than where the separator between the fingers are. So if you draw it at an angle, you'll be able to draw the back part of the finger coming back further than where the front part of the finger is. And again, it's something I've never heard people talk about before in these hand drawing videos. Okay, so again, that's the arc line showing where the finger joints are during the hand. So he calls this the Wi-Fi principle. That's why you see the symbol on screen. Thinking about the curves getting larger as you go further away, but you can see them also getting closer together. So this first spacing was quite large, then smaller still, with the angles getting steeper and sharper as they get towards the fingertips. Yes, I agree, Norval. Using rectangles feel very weird, either too lanky or too stubby. Too lanky is what I tend to draw, too long fingers, which is why this video has been really fascinating for me to think about the knuckle being halfway on the back of the hand, but the fingers being starting past halfway on the front of the hand. And this is where I've been going wrong. I've been drawing the fingers kind of halfway on the front of the hand, and they all seem too long, and I never knew why. So this has been really fascinating for me to look at. And just before we move to this next section to continue, I'll share Norval's sketches on that last section about the muscle on the back of the thumb there. Again, you've got this nice curvature butting out in front of the thumb, and it's one of those things that you wouldn't necessarily think about until it's pointed out to you, and you look at your own hand and it's kind of obvious you can see this extra muscle. So yeah, nice job there. Right, so that middle joint divides it in half, as you can see there. On the front side, it's into thirds. Yeah, and again, have a listen to this on the video, you'll hear the exact description. So showing you an extreme version with foreshortening, but it's still proving you've got the arcing of the fingers, because the fingers are kind of, in this example, straight lines, so you still have an arc between each of the joints. It's just a matter of finding that arc. So just going to mark that on here. So tracing over the drawing, useful to do. Yeah, as you said, the folds in the skin really show you where those joints are, so watch out for that. Great tip, that the fingers will almost always overlap each other in perspective, so you won't see all of the base of each finger because there'll be another finger in front of it. Yeah, I don't think the Wi-Fi principle was necessarily something Renaissance painters thought about. Exactly, ripple principle, pebble into a pond. Yeah, except the reverse for the spacing. Although, as he said, on the front side, on the palm side of the hand, the spacing is split into thirds. Again, this is where I think we get confused until we look into it in detail. That you might think it's in thirds because that's how you look at your hand. You look at your hand that way, but on the back, from the knuckle upwards, that's not a third. That's halfway from the knuckle to the first joint, same spacing to the tip, with then the elbow in between. But because of the knuckle being further back on your hand compared to where the gap is between the fingers, it's really interesting to consider. It depends which side you look at, Tom. It is a 1/3 each position on the front side of your hand, and on the back it goes from the knuckle to the first joint is the same distance as the first joint to the tip, and then the joint in the middle is about halfway, possibly smaller at the end. But again, please do take a listen to his explanation. He will be clearer than I can be. So yeah, it's just talking about overlapping fingers when they're in perspective, so don't try and draw them always separate at the base. So yes, little overlap on the close fingers, getting bigger overlap as you get round towards the little finger. Okay, so it's talking about the joint line you can see on the side of your skin when you bend a finger. So you can easily mark where the joints are. Okay, so it's looking at the fingertip a bit closer now. So it's a cylinder sort of shape, and box off with the corner there. So there you go, Maria was talking about you could start with boxes, rectangles, but he prefers cylinders. Okay, so imagining some lines on top, like at the very start. So we've got the curve on the fingertip. Yeah, so saying that because they each one individually curves, if you straighten the finger, it actually curves backwards from where the palm is. Yeah, so don't draw it dead straight. Okay, good tip. If you draw it from the back, again doing a realistic drawing, it said remember to overlap the webbing between the fingers because the finger actually goes further back than where the webbing is. So draw the finger line further back than the webbing because it's heading towards the knuckle. So I think this is the next drawing we'll do. Again, it's piling out lots of information I can't get to repeat as easily, so do watch the video. But it's saying from this side, we're drawing the palm side first, the webbing isn't as clear that it's webbing across the gap because you haven't got the extensions of the lines, it's just kind of where the fingers join. So don't draw that too large. And again, the fingers from this view are 1/3 for each segment. Oh, thanks for joining me, Kozo. It's been great having you all with me today on this. Exactly, and the thumb here is pointing out the thumb overlaps the palm, so that the lines are in front of the palm to give it depth. So the thumb is nearer towards, it's in front, and you can see it's kind of, it's not placed on top of the palm, but it's not behind it or coming out the side. It is kind of more in the front. Oh, no problem, Kozo. No problem whatsoever. Happy to. I'm glad you asked during the start of the stream there for showing that. To make it transparent in the video editor, the best thing to do is to render it transparent first. So render it with a transparent background. So rendering it as a GIF or a WebM in Tahoma 2D, and you'll get a transparent background, and then just add the background in where you do want a background. So you might want a rectangular background. If you don't, then don't have anything whatsoever. No problem at all. Good to have you with us today. Thanks for joining us. As I say, I'm getting towards the end. I wanted to at least get to drawing a full hand, and that's exactly what we've got next. So I'll do a couple of these, so maybe another half an hour. The smell of my dinner cooking is getting too much for me, but I'd like to get through at least drawing a full hand today. So a little bit longer for the stream, and hopefully you'll catch that when you get a chance. So am I, Nulval. So am I, getting hungry. Thank you for joining us and for sharing your sketches today. So in OpenToons, it's just GIF for video to render a transparent background. So when you go to the output settings, I don't know if you've seen this, so let me show you quickly. Output settings, just choose GIF as the option and then the frames you want to render. And just be sure to not have a background on here. And again, you can replay this later to check on it. And if you haven't changed the setting up here, it's fine. But if you might have changed, double check in your scene settings in the scene menu there. Double check, you can see a checkerboard pattern on the camera background colour. And if you see a checkerboard, a GIF will render with a transparent background. If you don't want a transparent background, if you want the white of the camera colour, increase the alpha value all the way to the top. And if you want to, you can always change the camera colour with the sliders or by selecting on the colour key, but that's for a separate time perhaps. So make sure the alpha is set to 0, you can see the checkerboard, and if you haven't got a background in the timeline, you'll get transparent with a GIF. Let's let this chap finish off this one hand drawing. Yep, the final chapter is hand poses. This is the last full drawing. And then we'll get to different chapters, different poses, sorry. I'm listening to him at the same time as talking. Not a good idea when you can only concentrate on one thing at once. So let me go back to his picture that he did here. And if you're wondering, I've paused the video, but I'm pressing the less than symbol on my keyboard to go backwards one frame at a time. There we go, to get a clear image. And I'll put this on my second screen. So it's at 1424 if you want to find that frame to draw. $14.24. No problem, Kozo. Catch you next time. Okay, so let's try and draw this whole hand. So I will start large as he's done. I might do a couple of attempts at this, so let's see what we've got. So starting with the wrist, and it's not even talked about how the wrist looks or any additional lines or drawings, but for now just 2 lines coming in, it seems to be perfectly fine. Okay, so he's drawing the hand again, overlap principle. It's what you use in animation quite a lot. Overlap the hand to the wrist here, and it shows that there's some dimensionality, and it's not just one line joining onto another line like that and then moving off. It's actually a form of something in front of something else. So the padding on the hand is in front of the wrist there. So that's pretty good to add that in. So the thumb comes up the side here. I want to change that angle a little bit, so let's make it a little bit wider so I can show that L shape, that point of the thumb we've talked about. He's then got that little elbow where he's got the thumb coming backwards a little bit. go in sort of wider there. So looking at the front side of the thumb, not the nail. Hello there, Alex. Welcome to the stream. Good to have you here. A tip for a transparent background. Yes, you can chroma key out as well, of course. So you could make a solid background colour and then chroma key out. Depending on your software, you might have a little edge colorization differences. But if you can render without a background and it fits nicely onto your animation, onto your video, then it's great. So either works for that. Originally, when I started putting my videos together, I did use chroma key. So where I had text at the bottom of the screen and the end stamp at the end of every video, I had a green background that I chroma keyed out until I found the WebM option in the output settings, WebM, which I think was for mobile. WebM is for mobile web, anyway. And I discovered that, and you can include audio in that file as well, that file format. So when something whooshes onto the screen with a whoosh noise that I've got in Tahoma, I can include that in the render, so I didn't have to add it separately in the video editor. And for my video editor shortcut, it works really well. It adds them in without giving any kind of artifacting or anything, so it's really good for me. But an alternative, as you say, is the chroma key option. Okay, so we've got the creases here. I've drawn them on the wrong side, that's on the other side of the hand. So he's got more kind of a curve on there of the thumb coming over, and he's got the creases on the other side coming to that as part of the inner elbow joint of the thumb there. And then the thumb comes down a little bit here. Again, a bit more of a crease for that next joint. And that cuts across into the hand, and then the rest of the palm of the hand comes off there. So I've not taken that too far that way. It kind of almost joins onto where the wrist is, which is wrong. So I'm going to undo some of that. In fact, let me grab the eraser and start again. Not quite moved over enough. Okay, so his thumb, looking at where it goes, is kind of more that way. He's got his L shape sort of going there, and then his thumb really hinges a lot back here. And I'm kind of drawing around it and not joining my lines just to get a better feel for the position of where things are. We'll join that up in a second. So the thumb comes down here. It should be quite fat, so I think that comes in a bit too much. Okay, so I might have a second run through at this. I'm looking again where the wrist is, which I follow that along, the line goes there, where the arm joins in. We need to make sure it doesn't go straight up for the hand there, so let's add that. Looks like it could be here. I definitely think I need a couple of runs at this one. So I've got the extra webbing of the thumb going across. Let's get the palm of the hand before I get to the fingers done. So that kind of comes in a little bit here. And then that is kind of that padding muscle down the side of the little finger here, which is where that curve is. So that's quite interesting there. The padding of the thumb comes quite a long way over here. It's kind of got that It's not come through yet, Maria. Or unless I need to scroll down. I can see the live stream chat. I can see Norval's last image. That's not come through yet. I'll keep an eye on that for coming through. Yeah, that's not coming at all. I don't know if you've... Are you sure you... I hate to ask a silly question. You pressed enter. You've definitely sent it over because it's not showing up my side. So again, thinking about the length of things, he's got... Think about where the knuckle is and that skin crease inside. So he's kind of got that line, this sort of a position. He's got other lines he's drawn on here. I'm not going to draw them all. It's not a palm reading I'm doing. And then he's got the fingers coming outwards. So let me start with that little finger. Oh, I can see some messages have just come through there. I'll take a look in a second. He's drawn the curve in there first, which is really handy. I like that. So we need to go from, thinking about dimensions, the wrist to where the knuckles are, to where the longest fingertip is kind of the same distance. So I'm kind of picturing that line in my mind, sort of up here somewhere for the longest finger. Maybe I should draw this in first, the Wi-Fi, to actually see where that goes to. Okay, let me jump into the live stream chat here. Thanks, Maria. Let me bring that over here. So yes, you've drawn those the Jim Kim images to try and show that inside muscle. Yeah, you've got it there. Nice. Did I draw that one? Yes, I did. I did, just sort of showing that popping up. I couldn't remember. This is an interesting positioning on the ground that he's drawn at the top right of his image, and you've drawn at the bottom left of yours, as well as at the top here. You've got a different sketching style, lots of lines there working through, but I can see you grabbing the right proportions and an image there. Nice. Palm, you smashed that one out. You beat me there. Excellent. I think this third finger, whichever you look at it, ought to be longer. Possibly the last two fingers ought to be longer. The first two look good, but it seems to jump quite short for these two. So I'm going to drag those up a little bit larger. Everything else superb. Yeah. Tom shared a palm as well, but his is a palm tree. It's maybe worth doing the Wi-Fi line, drawing the line at the top to get a feel for sort of the length of these fingers. I think he suggested elsewhere in this video later about just kind of drawing a line for where you want the fingers to get a feeling first of the spread of the fingers is useful. So now I've got that, let me try drawing this up here. I'm drawing it, trying to picture a cylinder. That's far too narrow. A cylinder rather than a rectangle. Let me grab the eraser, get rid of my line out the middle, take the side off and start again. That feels a little bit short. I think I've gone a bit short with that line, so erase the top of that. And let's just move it up. Get the pebble ripple up here. And as he said, the fingers aren't exactly straight all the way along, so I need to try and add some change in shape. I can see he's done it here. It's quite sort of narrow at the top and then sort of curving out a little bit. And now if you do your ripple at each position, so between that crease and the end, about halfway, he said, is where you want the first elbow, and then halfway between that and the next is the next elbow. So we can add a couple of lines in here for those. He hasn't got a lot of spacing between the webbing, so we could start quite close to that one. And he's kind of got sort of the finger leaning each way, one way or the other way. I think between the knuckles, rather than going straight up and down and saying bend, bend, if you can kind of curve that in, almost. Bit of an exaggeration here. Curve it in at those bends, it might be better. So I'll have a play with doing some of that, I think. Absolutely not, Jagielski. Absolutely not. 100% not. You shouldn't draw hands this detailed for, well, not for animation, not for most animation. You will find some animation that has a close-up of a detailed hand, but not for most animation. For comics, yes, sometimes there will be that detailed, sometimes not. But again, the point of today, for me, is to learn the rules before I break the rules. So I'm to learn how a finger is constructed, and then once I learn that, I can then break the rules and then decide, right, now how do I want to draw a finger for the cartoon? And obviously today I'm taking my time just to get through some of the basics. Whereas normally you go, as you say, a lot quicker for being able to do cartoons. Plus, I'll say it, you can't smell what I can smell, because I've got my dinner cooking and I'm getting very hungry. So I'm probably rushing a little bit too much. Oh, thank you. Jagielski? Would that be right? Jagielski? Is that Polish? Or am I on the wrong stream there? On the wrong gist? Jagielski. Yeah, that's fine. Thank you. I'll try and do that. I've often mentioned how terrible my pronunciation of names is. So I really appreciate you letting me know when I've got it wrong. Okay. So that's just about joining up. It's a little bit thin there. Again, pop that in for the joints, and same at the bottom. Again, if you look at your hand, you can see sort of extra creases in there. Yep, fantastic. Yeah, thought so. I used to work with a lady who was half Polish, so at the time I learnt a few words. I don't know what they are now, but I heard plenty of sort of Polish names. Okay, so let me have a look at this. I'm looking at his image now on my second screen compared to here. I've got the palm here far too long, I think. I need to shorten that. I'm going to try and shorten it using tools, using the selection tool here. And it might go madly wrong. Let me just bring it down. If I'm just sort of bringing myself back to have a look. That's feeling a bit better for the length of that. And again, if I was doing this as a neat drawing, this would be the pencil stage sketch. So I'm quite happy to sort of leave the Wi-Fi lines on here and the additional lines on the side. I will just erase these slightly, just to leave some more room for another sketch in there. Yeah, I love using Critter, but because I've done a number of different drawings today for various things we were looking at, I thought I'd use Tahoma. It's a brand new version out at 1.3, so it gives me a chance to get a feel for the program, to see if it crashes easily, see if anything works slowly or is a problem in some way. And I was going to use a separate frame for each drawing anyway. You could use separate layers for different drawings in Critter, but I kind of want to get used to using Tahoma a little bit more today. So that's kind of why I chose to leave it today. So I'm just trying to fill in any gaps I've got here. Neaten anything off. See where I've gone right, where I've gone wrong. I like the curve of the thumb there. Don't think I've quite got the padding right yet. That's a bit low. I think just needs to go a little bit wider there. So he talks about if you sort of crunch your hand up quite a lot, you almost got this line down the centre you could add. So I think that needs to be a little bit larger there, perhaps. Okay, it's quite a fat hand, but that's not too bad at all. It's got all the placeholders in there. So I think what I'm going to do, with the smell of Sunday cooked dinner wafting through the air, and you can almost see that coming towards my nose. So there's my big old hooter. Let me go a bit higher there. There we are. This is me. And it's like, ooh. That is what's happening right now in this room as I'm sitting here doing some drawing. So I'm going to call it the end of the stream there, call it a day. If you've got any questions, pop them in the chat, any last minute questions. But I'm going to do some more practice at this stage, and I think we'll come back next week and work on the next section of this video, which is some hand positions and poses, to try and practice drawing the hand in different positions at different angles and with foreshortening, which is where I was really struggling during the 11-second club. So I'll be doing that next week. And then possibly, maybe the week after, we'll do some animation with hands to try and get them actually moving, possibly simplifying down to cartoony style hands, dropping a finger off maybe, or maybe not. We'll see how we get on. But I'm happy with where that's taken us so far today. Hope you are too, for your own drawings. Please keep sharing your drawings over in the Discord server. I'll be checking on there later on this evening when I've finished eating. Please do, Jose, take a look at that video. Have a watch, everybody. Down in the description, you've got a link to that video. Really useful, packed with tips. So do take a look at that and see how you get on. Do some practicing. See what you can draw with that. See how well your hands will improve. Already, the sketches I've done have improved my knowledge of the hand so much. I need more practice to be able to get through them quicker. As you said, Jagielski? I'll get it snappy soon, I promise. Jagielski, as you said, you wouldn't draw it this detailed for animation, but let's learn how to draw the hand first, then we'll learn how to draw a simpler, cartoony hand. So I'm just about to leave. Thanks for joining me, and hey to you too, but I'm leaving for now. You can watch the stream over on YouTube. It's been recorded, so you can rewatch what we've been doing today. And you all have a great week. I'll see you next Sunday for the next Sunday Tea Time live stream, where we'll do some more drawing with hands. And that is a Darren Tea. Have you always wanted to animate, but didn't know how to start, and software seemed expensive and difficult to use? Well, with OpenToonz, it's free, powerful, and once you know how, it's easy to use. And it's my mission to get you animating with it today. Hi, my name's Darren, and I've been teaching OpenToonz for the past 3 years, showing thousands of students just like you how easy it is to animate with. I'm cutting through the jargon to show that anyone can animate with it. And by the end of the course, you'll be able to animate traditionally using OpenToonz. And the course is designed for students brand new to OpenToonz, as well as those new to animation. So take a look at the free lessons I've offered below, and then why not sign up and join me animating traditionally with OpenToonz.